Hell yeah. Alright, it's time to play some goddamn Diablo. Diablo time. Hell yeah.
Damn, this is worse than I thought. Elias has the sightless eye. It's ancient magic. You can see anywhere with it. Across time, even.
Raise your heads high!
Oh my god, do I have to fight this motherfucker like 3 times again?
Bless me with your power, and whatever you ask of me, it will be done.
Go forth and stand in judgment before Master Elias. But show no fear, no hesitation.
Don't worry. We won't.
Meow.
Blessed Mother, I will not fail you again. The maiden will walk this world.
Elias.
I knew you would come, Lorath.
Been spying on us with the sightless eye, have you?
You think I would waste such magic on you? You're still just as narrow-minded as the day I left you. I will put you out of your misery, old man.
Oh shit.
Should have stayed in that little cabin, hoarding your threats.
This is over. We should find the sightless eye while we still have time. We can't leave it with these fanatics.
Hold on. I see something. Blood petals.
This part is wild.
Mephisto, Diablo, Baal. The ruination of sanctuaries imminent. And yet you
One day.
Only zealots and fools are completely certain, Mother. If we are to be saved, it will be by your hand.
I have not come to save, but to empower. In my shadow, the strong will oppose the might of hell itself. Let the weak fend for themselves.
Andaria lives. The Horadrim die.
Whatever the cost.
Whatever the cost.
I had another vision. Lilith thinks the prime evils will destroy Sanctuary, and she's empowering people to stand against them.
That's why she and Elias are gathering followers. They're building a bloody army.
Yes, Lorath. The Lords of Hell threaten our existence, and we are doing something about it.
Elias, how are you still alive?
You will never understand what I have done for this world. I need more essence. After all these years, this is the best you can do. I'm out
essence. Bastard, die.
We can't keep bashing our heads against him like this. He'll wear us down. We need to escape, but
What up, Blaze?
not without the Sightless Eye. If we can take it, that'll rob him of some power at least.
In the mountains, the mother and I saw a village. The people, cold and hungry, prayed to a light that would give them no warmth. But in her presence, a new fire was stoked in their hearts. They would never go hungry or feel cold again. I sense the blood of Lilith in you, Wanderer. You received her blessed communion. Open your heart to her. Embrace your nature.
Never.
You'll give up something. It's what you always do.
Need more essence.
You think killing me again will have a different outcome?
I need more time.
Lack the required essence. That stench. Unnatural. Where did he find this power?
What up, Selassie? You were listening on a conversation between President Sunday and Wick on when it's okay to police black people's language. It is, trick question, it is always okay to police black people's language. Because that's the trap, right? If it's okay in certain occasions, why is it not okay in all occasions? It's perfectly okay for President Sunday and Wick, two white men with bad facial hair and bad hairlines, to decide on how people who have lived through experiences that they can't even fucking fathom are allowed to express their experiences in a way that is more palatable to them and the people that they think can actually make a difference, instead of just allowing, instead of just leaving people the fuck alone. But, and motherfuckers get confused. Like, they're like, why is he bringing up P.T. Barnum? Why is he bringing up Benjamin Rush? It's like these are the people who thought they were fighting for us, but not because they saw us as human or that we deserved our own shit, but we're like pet projects for them. We're like just like completely optional side quests for them, and that's why they fucking put themselves on a cross about how non-racist they are, or how they're good people, by comparing themselves to literal fucking Nazis. Was doing security yesterday and the cop showed up talking about why you being so aggressive towards us. We just trying to help you guys out. Like, bro, you offered your badge number and all we asked for were the other two. Yeah. All cops are bastards except the white liberal language police. Yo, fuck a Fred Hampton, fuck a Asada Shakur, fuck a, you know, fuck a Angela Davis, fuck a Bell Hooks, fuck a Kim Crenshaw. It's actually President Sunday and Vosh and Wick who are at the front lines of civil justice, of like social justice and civil rights. And they have contributed more in that sense than anyone. And we're all just, you know, mentally ill, and we should just let the adults speak. Who's Wick? Exactly. Like, we knew they were up to something because we have a guy who was patrolling around the block and they had some canines and a SWAT ready. Yeah, that's wild. I don't talk to police. If you are another person who feel like that's what you need to do, I guess, do that. Like, if you feel like if you're white or something or whatever, you feel like they're useful for you in a specific situation, call them. Like, there's never been a single instance where I've talk to the police or seeing the police get called or seeing people talking to police where they didn't either escalate the situation beyond what was completely necessary or just do nothing at all.
Are you looking for the eye, Lorath? Taking it will change nothing. It is too late to stop what Lilith has begun. You can do better than this.
I'm out of essence. I'm not ready yet. I'm out of essence. I'm not ready yet. I'm low on essence. I'm not ready yet. I need more time. I need more time.
Here it is. The Sightless Eye. Mashif can help us get the artifact far from this place.
Sorry I wasn't looking at chat. I was trying to fucking no life the fucking boss because that boss clapped me last night. Let me read what y'all got going on in chat. caught one of our members on an ordinance, and it was one of these old white shop owners who called them because we were doing an actual pride parade. No, naturally, of course, yeah. For what other reason, right? It's always a block party or a fucking parade or whatever. Just like niggas having fun. Did I catch you niggas having fun? It's the #1 way to get the cops called on you. Be black and have fun. Weird ass Twitch dweebs always super horned up to police you on how you're allowed to talk about your experience as a black person, but will then turn around and give free airtime to weird ass edgelords at best and actual Nazis at worst, so we can listen to yet another sob story about how some weakling decided all black people are animals because they got beat up in high school once. Not only that, but all they have to do is make some fucking bullshit ass half-assed like half-assed goofy ass like fucking car seat apology. And then now we should all go watch them too. You know what I mean? Because they got a big audience. And if we mix our big audiences together, then I can make a lot of money. I mean, we can change people's minds. We can show that they have a community that they can come to when they eventually reform themselves from the Nazi lifestyle. What does that even mean? Because whenever I say you're telling me that you're letting people talk all kinds of weird shit in your community so that people know that they have another message board to go to, another Discord server to go to after they leave Kiwi Farms. Like when I put it like that, people get fucking mad. But that's what they mean. Because like you cannot be stupid enough to think that you're going to dismantle a fucking centuries old system of power and class structure by talking to fucking Nazis on YouTube.
Put pressure here. We need to stop the bleeding.
It seems I've lost a step in my old age, eh, Deckard?
No.
Hey, you made it. Did you kill that sorcerer fellow?
Don't talk. The storm was broken. We'll get you out of here.
Oh, it's a shame. I got mine. Just a hair too late. Sneaky devil poked me in the back. Skewered like a quill rat. So it goes. Hey, Deckard.
Aye.
They could just not be Nazis? Nah, because I mean,
So it goes.
at least being Nazi adjacent is very fucking profitable. There's mad money. You can make mad money just saying dumb status quo shit.
We need a safe place to study it. Use it against them. We'll meet at the Desert Chapel. Go.
Level 23 Necros running Iron Maiden, Decrepify, Corpse Explosion, Raise Dead, Reaping Blood Surge, pretty gnarly build. I just throw down Iron Maiden and Decrepify and spam Blood Surge until the entire screen is dead. Drop in Corpse Explosion on any new corpse. I wipe rooms so fast it's confusing. I've been stacking into the the Bone Spear build. I just like fucking, it's just busted. Just being able to proc, vulnerable on like any monster you see. It's like, yeah, that one. Boom, Bone Spear. And then it like fucking hits the people behind him. It might not make him vulnerable, but that shit does mad DPS. It's everyone behind him and then fires 3 more out to hit him again. It's just like, it's nuts. We quite literally just watched one of their talking heads admit to being a chomo on 4K. You know, motherfuckers will still support him heavily, but dog, that just proves what I said before. What I don't get is what's irritating to me is like we have to do this fucking, like it seems like once every 3 or 4 months. You know what I mean? Because none of the, like half of those clips are like with the Chomo shit are from like 2017. You know what I mean? So much of that shit is just so old. It's like the SDL shit. You know what I mean? Like, we have to spin the block on that shit. I don't know. It's just fucking annoying. Not on our part or the people who bring it up's part, but just like the fact that they either get new frogs who walk in like months later and never hear about any of that stuff, or it's just people that are just longtime fans that are like, nah, I don't want to give up my parasocial relationship, because it's not even just like comfort content. Like, I understand, like, I listen to old school death metal and shit, like a lot of the bands like a lot of the slam bands and shit that I used to listen to, and like Porno Grind and shit. I still occasionally get an ear to decide to put that shit on, but like, no one's making money off of that. And I'm not like participating in it. I don't know. It was just a joke. Yeah, it's all just jokes. Decrepify has a chance to stun on damage, and Blood Surge hits everything on screen. I can't spawn blood orbs, but I rarely drop below 100%. Your rogue is killing faster though. Yeah, I heard that the Bone Spear is like a Bone Spear Necro build is like some of the highest DPS in the game.
Perhaps we can use it to our advantage.
I was already planning on building Necro, but then somebody told me that that's why he has like the slowest movement speed, just because he has the highest like the some of the Bone Spear shit, and then with the debuffs that like Necro hits like a fucking truck and has like the highest DPS in the game. In the end game.
A mountain of corpses. Then there was the Wanderer. Everything Elias was not. Tainted by Lilith's blood, and yet able to resist her corruption. That was what I witnessed in the Wanderer's deeds. And that was when I started to think that perhaps together we could keep the evil at bay.
If everybody's just joking, how are we supposed to figure out who's lying? They know this. They themselves have said these phrases out loud and still continue to joke like that. Or entertain jokes like that in their vicinity. And not highlight it and be critical of it. At least from where I'm sitting. Because I've just seen clips here and there. I don't watch any of that shit. And I'll readily say that. Because motherfuckers will see like one 30-second clip of me that was farmed. Oh, this guy's I don't even know what this person said. I have a very loose understanding of the conversation as a whole. But everybody's saying that this dude is anti-race mixing. And it's funny. And he hurt my favorite streamer's feelings. And I would like to participate as well. So I'm going to also just say that this dude is anti-race mixing. With no foundation whatsoever. Just this other black dude's shitty understanding of the conversation that this other black dude was trying to have. And this is my token black dude, so if he feels that way, then it can't be racist. It has to be correct, even if there are a significant portion of the black community at large on the platform that he's on that don't fucking like him. It must just be because, you know, they're like mental or something. Yeah, that's what I mean. And honestly, it's bullshit. Like after a certain age, and once you enter a certain like social, like basically once you get out of your like 5 or 6 high school friends and your little niche internet circle, especially when you're someone like him where you have so many people who follow you and like give you money and shit on the internet, you have to understand that like your status as quote unquote political like is not optional. People are going to decide that you are the black X, whether you like that shit or not, whether you want that shit or not. That's why we make fun of fucking people like Morgan Freeman, Idris Elba, that say they don't want to be recognized as black and all this stupid shit. It's like, okay, well then you get a fucking time machine and dismantle the system of white supremacy, right? And then and only then, or decide to put some work in now. And the bare minimum of that would be like positively identifying as black and choosing to convert or divert that political energy that your existence already has, whether you like it or not, actually being active in that and moving that political animus in a specific direction, right? Because you're going to be the black or whatever. It's just how it is, Hoss. I don't know if you know how white supremacy works or not. Seems like you have a misunderstanding of it. But rest assured, your status as black is like not optional. And the desire to have it be optional without doing anything meaningful to dismantle the system of white supremacy that puts people in that position in the first place is kind of important and relevant to the conversation I was having with him. But, you know, people telling themselves all the time, and they think I'm the one who's like out here talking to. I feel like that's kind of why they have to portray what I was saying, and like that extreme manner, like saying shit like I'm blaming white queer people solely for gentrification, all this other weirdo shit, is because like they realize just how silly it is to make someone who doesn't even identify as black your voice for black whatever. And all things considered, when someone is supposed to be the last word on masculinity and what their content is advertised as being actual good, like man content, like content that you can watch if you want to understand masculinity, and then have this disposition towards black women is you know, you can't stand on that. You just can't. You gotta defame the other person that's like making your favorite guy demonstrate how much you suck by extension. My favorite black creator doesn't identify as black. Y'all don't think that's funny? That doesn't sound weird to y'all? They'll just assume everyone that doesn't like him is on some Farrakhan shit, but will also get so offended when you suspect them of never meeting a black person. IRL, LOL. That's the other telling thing about, like, so if you'd actually read and encountered other black thinkers besides just like Fred Hampton, Farrakhan, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, right? If you had actually decided to step outside of the paradigm of who we put in the like the pantheon of the mythology of civil rights, you would understand a lot of these takes because they would sound familiar to you, right? We've literally watched clips on this channel of Kwame Ture saying the exact fucking same things that I've said before, right? I've literally read James Baldwin and his takes on here. That I've had the same takes, right? Like this sort of shit, and this is what makes people sus too, is just like it's kind of more sad, more so with like your black content creators who fall into this trap, just because it's like the shit that Carter G. Woodson talked about, like motherfuckers just not knowing their history, and to the point where they don't know why it's important, and like the goal of white supremacy is realized because you don't just not question white supremacist behaviors, you actively participate in them. But yeah, it's just the only thing that they pay any remotely any attention to would be like Fred Hampton, because they think that like the Black Panthers did outreach to white people or whatever. Like it's generally understood that the Black Panthers were the most effective political, everything tends to get reduced to movements, but like the most effective political organization in the United States of America in terms of like social justice, I guess you could call it, civil rights. But the credit doesn't want to be like, we can't say, especially within black people, right? Like this is kind of like a microcosm of people's attitudes in general, and like the whole thing in general is like everyone on quote unquote the left will acknowledge the Black Panthers, right? But the white people will say that their strength was their outreach to white people, not anything that they did, right? The idea that they had was to work with white people and allow white people into the space, right? And then a lot of the black men will be like, black people will be like, yeah, the breakfast program, such and such and such and such, like all the stuff that we all know. But like, it's never really talked about how much like a backbone that the black women of the organization were, right? And how like black women and black trans women and black queer folk have always been at the forefront of like this fight for human dignity at all times, right? That can never be acknowledged or brought up. And then surprise, surprise, you have the reactions with people like Jai. I've seen her get accused of literally everything at this point. Doxing, fucking Kiwi Farm shit. I haven't seen a single screenshot of any of this shit popping. But there's people that I don't even know who've blocked me right now because I simply follow this person. I have no interactions with them, just occasionally like some of their fucking tweets just because it's fucking hilarious to me how mad people are at this person, right? And you can kind of see it in how I get treated on here, right? I'm anti-race mixing. Fucking F-bombs for you, and Jenny Burns and them spent like fucking like a year at this point almost fucking accusing me of swatting and sending people fucking funeral blankets and a whole bunch of other weird silly shit like that off of just like Amazon links. You know what I mean? And a fucking 8-hour call where I was literally asleep for like 3 hours of it. And all of the most egregious shit that came out of that call was from shit that was from his friend in real life. I could go on and on about that shit, but my stream title is The War Room for a reason. That shit is literally a fucking joke. None of that shit is taken seriously. None of the people who are involved are taken seriously. Except for one who I'm still in contact with, that I don't think anyone really else from that whole debacle is, which is kind of telling to me as well. But you know. Not their ability to organize their community, making a genuine social counterculture in the area. Like, even when we look up dope people, like, the only reason we were getting into Thomas Sankara was in opposition to, Like, it was still just to dunk on another creator in a space. Nothing can ever be just because, hey, let's look at this because it's a good idea and we. It's literally just like people are so fucking and typical, and that's the most frustrating part. Is people don't understand just how typical it is, and they don't understand it's shit that we've seen interact, shit that's like this is the part where it's like this is why you should probably check out some shit besides Fred Hampton, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, like these mythologized people, because so many people have written specifically about everything, and I do mean literally everything, because nothing about any of these social interactions is new. The only thing new is the technology. Dig. The irony is that the standard set by the online space is how palatable your movement and rhetoric is to white people with certain tendencies. I mean, yeah, it's how comfortable do you make white people, which has literally been the status quo since the time that they brought us the fuck over here. But the white people online you see setting the standard do significantly less than the white people who partook in those movements back then, while expecting double the amount of praise in return. It's incredibly tone deaf. Bernie Sanders got locked the fuck up. Like there's literally pictures of Bernie getting beat on and locked up, right? And they expect to get even remotely the same level of recognition as that guy in terms of advancement of like the cause and dedication to the movement, when they're doing literally the total opposite. You're like on here talking to Richard Spencer and shit. It's not even tone deaf. You're just fucking stupid. It's like to the point of if you're not stupid, there's no way I can't see that as malicious. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's no way I can't view you as doing that intentionally just to get money out of people or get views or whatever, boost your brand. They want a pacifist run that doesn't exist. This is why weird ass people like President Sunday fucking have the takes about like the Haitian revolution and shit too. It's like, fam, like until you have family members that have had to live through that kind of shit, then maybe keep your comments to yourself. I'm always cooking. This is my fucking channel. I'm just playing Diablo and talking shit. I never start either. Someone always comes in like, "Hey, do you see this new goofy shit by such and such?" And then we just kind of go from there. Cause I don't pay attention to that shit. I have a fucking a job and romantic interests in my life. I don't have time for that kind of dumbass shit. Let's see. Fucking Viv said I got like fucking hella more hours left in this game, so I want to try to at least complete the campaign today. What up? Nah, it's cool, Selassie. Nah, I wasn't hating, but doing this at my job, so at least I'm getting paid while rotting my brain. KW. A lot of people, a lot of chatters, I've noticed this because Fade watches Hassan at work. That's what Fade does all day. It's not anything. Yeah, I wish I could do that shit. I don't know if there was an update, Junja, but I do know that people still log in. Yeah, I was able to log in. Was the server down or something? Oh, you're coding. Yeah, that explains everything then. Nothing will rot your brain as hard as coding. So I completely understand. Your brain is already numb by the time you get to fucking President Sunday. President Sunday is like, if it's all just like permutations of fucking like cable television politics, President Sunday is like the Big Bang Theory. It's all just like an iceberg of like people who think they're clever because they listen to X person who thinks they're clever, but is really just kind of using circumlocution. Typically it's like Destiny, then Vosh. It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect, like bell curve. You know what I mean? And President Sunday is like peak fucking charlatanry. To the point where I almost got debated. Almost got debated. Cause fucking Dat Katie's dumbass. Almost got debated into a conversation with him. Cause he said that defining racism as power plus prejudice is reductive and stupid. And then like almost used up his character limit to describe what racism actually is. Just a normal ass day. What's that? What? What? Wow. President Sunday. They've created their own NCO definition of intelligence that is incapable outside of their Discord servers. Yeah. I straight up tell people I'm not reading this. I mean, so do I. Hold on, let me show you the meme I usually send people. I usually send people this. This is probably like my favorite TLDR like reaction picture. Oh yeah, and hold up. This is also my favorite like it's kind of, this is like the one you see on screen right now is kind of just like a general purpose reaction picture to like motherfuckers with walls of text. You know what I mean? But this is good for when people just say wild ass shit completely fucking unprompted. This is good for that.
My nigga, that's crazy. But I don't remember asking.
Yeah, that's kind of perfect.
My nigga, that's crazy. But I don't remember asking.
Yeah.
Ooh, this video.
Shout out to FD. Yeah, this book is a bestseller with the online fucking left. And that shit's funny to me too, is that we've designated ourselves, air quotes, the online left, as if the streamers represent the most active leftists online. Like I wasn't buying and selling whole ass drugs. Allegedly. Colin Powell's best work. If this is the extent that the left is doing with the internet, like, yeah. I mean, it's not. But they like to think that it is. It's just that as like states get more aggressive with their surveillance systems, like obviously like China, but like as America gears up to make their internet like China's internet with the anti-TikTok shit, the really good stuff, nice stuff's gonna be harder to do. But like, think about how easy it is to just walk into a store and walk out with a gun in some parts of America. You think the internet's gonna be policed that heavy? A lot of the people who are that passionate and fucking flog their hogs on that gun shit don't even know how to work the internet. It's another one of those things where the people who are making the legislations for and about it don't even fucking know how it works. Oh, no wonder I'm fucking silly. Time to go touch grass. Yep. God damn, 2010 was a wild year. Rest in peace, Dread Pirate Roberts. He's still alive, but he's just royally fucked. I got out of that shit ASAP. A lot of them IRCs and shit. Really want a lot to do with that shit after. Watching my mans get dealt with. I am not trying to deal with myself. Only thing I've used an IRC for was being a fuel rat and elite dangerous officer. Yeah, the only thing I've ever used IRC for was to try and talk to girls officer. Try to pick up some femboys. Conversation wouldn't even start and they'd already have their mind changed. Go debate a Proud Boy? Yeah. Go debate a Klansman. It's like they don't debate them, they just interview them. I have no clue why you would brag about trying to debate. Like, how on earth is that something you're like, yeah, I'm gonna tell people about this. This is something I'm proud of. I want people to know about this, and I expect them to think I'm cool because of it. Dog, Tim Pool, we already know. Like, I don't get why. Like, Tim Pool is literally open about how he's just trying to get clips and, like, because that's the game that the leftists, air quotes, are playing. Is to just get clips of you saying dumb shit or shit that you think makes them look stupid. So, like, we're, like, surprised to find out they're doing the same thing and their audiences also don't fucking care. Makes no fucking sense. Like, what would talking to Tim Pool accomplish other than boosting your brain? And that's how we get into the commodification of, like, people knowing who you are is advancing the culture. Not because you actually give them any educational value in terms of how to organize their own communities, but because, like, you just have correct takes and you do brain rot. I can understand that position, perhaps, with an actual journalist or, like, an actual serious person. I truly don't see the benefit. I can't carry any more murmuring obols. What the fuck are they? I'm trying to put them in the stash so I can carry get more. There's enough space in his ego bladder for that. Wonder if Vosh felt like Garvey when he went to talk to Tim Pool. I don't think he probably the only thing he probably knows about Marcus Garvey is that he hated white people. It's anti-Semitic or like it's a very liberal mindset when they just expect others to do the community organizing for them. Yeah. Like me, I know exactly what I'm good for, and I play my part. I just share links. So like I support Baltimore Food Not Bombs. Just shared the link for Mr. Billy's fucking his GoFundMe. He was a like former Baltimore Panther. Just needed money for a place to stay. Trying to do more stuff like that. If I get into a stable position with my job and my living situation. So where is the purveyor of audit?
Oh, bad luck. Try again. Very nice. But could be better. It seems your prayers have been answered. Fair bit of magic in that one. Not much, is it? Not much, is it? Fair bit of magic in that one.
That is too expensive.
Until next time.
Need something forged? You can take what's left.
Where they actually not, yeah, I get that. Have you heard about the whole League of Legends play? I haven't heard about that. I don't play League. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention. So here's a question I want to pose to y'all that I think is kind of funny. Is there any like celebrity or like any people that you just from the minute you first saw them, no matter when it was, you just knew they were goofy? Because I have two that I think of right off the bat. And you're gonna understand completely the level of goofiness as soon as I say their names. Xander Hall is one. But these are two even more relevant names. Number one, Kevin Sorbo. Knew he was going to be goofy from the minute I laid eyes on him. Number two, Rob Schneider. Knew that dude. I knew both of them were going to be goofy immediately. Immediately. It's like, oh, you're goofy. You're just a goofy person. Bet. Wick. Yeah. See, oh, you're goofy. Okay. You are an incredibly goofy person. You are not serious. You are not to be taken seriously. There's absolutely nothing about you that I respect. You're just a goofy person.
I need more time. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Oh shit, I'm about to die.
I need more time.
I don't know who is Perspective Philosophy some kind of channel. I'm not gonna look him up. I just need context. Call me a Vosh fan, because I would like some context. Context?
Survive Skosglen, and you'll be the stronger for it.
Wood will bend like grass in the wind when the spirits arrive. Physical barrier.
And your talismans and dirt scrolling will give the dead greater pause.
It's a British philosophy master student and vegan YouTube channel. Oh god. That's all you vegan is all you had to say.
You picked a fine time to visit Breistag, Wanderer.
The whetstones are singing. Hearts are pounding. Sweet music for a red day.
Donan sent me.
At least you're not another knight penitent.
At least. It is us who will protect this village with our lives.
Let it be.
There is an ominous fog uphill. Mad spirits emerge from it.
Damn, mad spirits.
Be here shortly.
I'm talking mad spirits.
Are you here to help us ward them off?
I seek a demon.
I love vegan food. Veganism is cool.
So,
Vegan, like white vegans.
well, this day keeps getting better, doesn't it? The demon went up.
There's a spot in Baltimore called My Mama's Vegan. It's actually a,
Unless you want to join the spirits,
get the chicken
go
teriyaki.
there.
It's chick on
Best you stay with us.
teriyaki.
I can lead you to Erida.
Out of the question.
I'll be safe. Donan puts his
They make,
trust in
like-
this traveler. So shall we all.
Fucking like
Tell me when you're ready to move.
po' boys and shit. They make all kind of food.
Return as soon as you can.
Plant based.
I'll have my head if anything happens to you.
The roads are thick with fog.
You have to say plant based because everybody knows how fucking annoying vegans are.
In cairns.
Hail Satan. Love that shit. Delicious. Fucking wheat meat.
I need to persuade him just to let me leave the bloody key.
Out of the vegan circles.
A burial cairn up ahead. That's the entrance to the cairns ahead. Wait, why is the passage blocked?
Why is the passage blocked?
It's sealed, but there's writing. They look like old druid runes. The Song of Wind, the Howl of... Oh no, they're coming.
Hurry.
All right. E-a-le. It's a chant. The chant will open the way. Light, protect us. Hold them off. It worked. Something's rousing the spirits from their rest. We should make haste with them. Here as well. Yet, Erida's absence gives me greater concern.
Yeah, post-speciesism, yeah.
This chamber is just how my father described it. Seem right. Only through the stories he told, though none involved the restless dead. Erida would not have barred the path of the dead like this. The spirits should be free to roam within the earth.
Lilith.
Strange.
Speak more on that?
The door is locked with an earthen seal.
I mean, it appeals to me. I'm a fucking solar punk, so of course.
Forge stones, that's it. If you bring me one from the nearby cairns, I think I can open the way.
I won't lie to you though. I also fucking love seafood and chicken and ribs. I need all that meat in my mouth. All homo. Bellamy. I kind of feel like pause. I don't think veganism is necessary either as a slow one. I'm just chilling. I left work early again today. Just fucking. I think I got another job lined up. And I'll probably take like a week to work on these couple little YouTube videos I got about railroad and shit where I grew up at. Chickens are yeah, I don't care as long as the food's good. I don't have I've had people straight be completely 100% serious. Be like, "Nah, I've never had anything vegan. I don't eat anything vegan." Like, you've never had an apple, bro? You've never eaten a fucking banana? Like, what? I eat nothing but animal products at all times. Even if I have like vegetables or fruits, I fucking inject them with beef tallow before I eat them. Absolutely nothing vegan. Like, you've never eaten Twizzlers, my nigga? Like, what? I dip the Twizzler in bacon fat before I eat it. Every individual one, even the pull and peel. I peel each individual strip of the pull and peel off, and I dip it in fucking bacon grease before I eat it. Absolutely nothing vegan, ever. No vegan. I won't lie though, fucking cooking collard greens and bacon is hitting. That'll never not be a thing. Posthumanism interests me. This is the war room, the weaponized anti-racism room. You can send me links, but I'm not gonna read it right now. I'll probably read it later. I'll go off shit. Playing games. I'm trying to pick up this fucking shit. Advance the story mode. Quit playing. That shit was not funny at all. But like the part where R. Kelly just like splits off out of nowhere in his interview with what's her name? He just starts going, quit playing. Quit playing. That shit just made me start geeking for some reason. I don't know why that was funny to me. Gale, yeah.
That did it. Maybe this will ease the dead. It's a start, at least. Demonic markings.
Lilith's been here.
Something's written.
We're not asking you to give a fucking college thesis, Nemo. Just like, give us like the crib notes. Just like the basic premise of it.
By stone and root, by tears and pain, we bear this flame that must remain.
Just trying to make conversation.
Dead eyes stained with ash and ember. Cursed are we who must remember. Ah, an elegy written by Erida. This is a memorial to all who died fighting Astaroth.
The weak perish. All ash forgotten.
Wait! We are not your enemy! Bending these heroes to her will. Erida would never stand for it. Unless... Oh, something has happened to her.
We don't know that yet. Come on.
So, okay. Since I have y'all all here, can somebody explain the Jai lore to me? Because it kind of just feels really fucking racist. Oh, you about to get on voice. Oh, shit. Did nothing wrong. VGG just hates black trans people. Okay. I get that. I just don't understand. It's weird. That shit makes no sense. Yeah, they keep adding more indictments. It's literally just a black woman being spicy on Twitter and naturally they don't like it. I mean, I can relate. Because motherfuckers were accusing me of like trying to swap people and shit. But like, it seems kind of above and beyond to where there's a new allegation every time her name pops up. And I have not seen a single screenshot. I have seen no receipts. Not a single receipt. Hey, what up, Bellamy?
What's good, nigga?
Coolin', you know, how you feeling?
I'm straight. I'm doing dishes and I ain't gonna stop, so you're just gonna have to deal with the noise.
Hey, I'm not gonna hold you.
Alright, man. Let me tell you about this nonsense, yo. Alright. So I should tell you my opinion outright, so you know where I'm coming from. This way, you know, folks understand like my biases and shit.
Right.
I think that Jai is a dickhead, personally. I think she's likely an abuser, but I don't have enough evidence to make an allegation like that.
Right.
But I wouldn't be surprised to hear that she is actually abusive, right?
Okay.
So, putting that out there. That said, I think 90%, at least like, I don't know, like 90, most of the bullshit that's surrounding her is just anti-black.
Okay.
And it's anti-blackness in the way that like, so the problem with this is, right, is that it's all tied up with like interpersonal beef, right?
Yeah, as usual.
Yeah, so like, but like, it's on this, with this shit, it's like, it's through the fucking roof, man. The interpersonal beef goes back literal fucking years, and there's basically no way that you're going to be able to discern who did what to whom when. Because either the tweets is gone, you know, shit happened in DMs, you know, those is gone. Half of the screenshots you see is just like a fucking one of them unhinged ass collage shit, right?
Yeah, right.
And like unhinged on both sides of the situation too, because you know,
right.
both sides of this have posted screenshots like that, right? Which is what makes me think like, all right, both sides of this probably got some legitimate gripes, right? But the problem is now, because I mean, I don't need to explain to you what happens with a bad black, right? But I guess I'll explain it for the sake of everybody else listening. But when you make a bad black, it hits all of us, right? If you have a black person that is completely, like, that you have created as, like, ontologically evil, basically, right?
I've seen that phrase used, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's basically what they've done to her, right? Like, there's no action you can do to this woman now that is unreasonable.
Right.
Because she's evil, right? They've doxed her, they outed her to her mom. Like they called her mom and literally outed her to her mom. That's
fucked
shit.
Up.
Like,
I didn't know
that. It is
that.
extremely fucked up. Yeah, it is extremely fucked up. They also tried to get in touch with her job, or what they thought was her job.
Wow.
And you know, they'll blame basically everything on her, right? So the problem, but the thing that they've been doing, what I mean, like it bounces off of all of us, right? If you make an allegation towards certain people of racism, you get labeled a what they call a Jai orbiter or a Jorbiter, right? So then that means that
woke scold or whatever.
Yeah, but specifically when it comes to Jai, they call you a Jorbiter or a Jai orbiter, right? So they can just write off your opinion. You're not worth taking seriously. You're just a piece of shit, right? It's othering 101, basically, right? So that's what's going on, more or less, that I have seen, is basically, oh well, like what happened. I don't know, maybe it was last year. I don't know, it was a while ago, but with like fucking Alejandra Caraballo, or I don't know how to say her name, but her, right? You know, if like when the Keffel shit was at its height, she was like, oh well, Jai is the one behind all of this.
Whoa, didn't know that.
This is Jai. This is Jai. This is this. This is that. You know, oh, what's Kiwi Farms? It's Jai, and it's like exactly, right? Like the shit is ridiculous. To anybody who has like even a rudimentary understanding of anti-blackness, you look at it and you're like, this is ridiculous, right?
Right.
Like this is literally like y'all are just trying to find ways to weasel your way out of fucking any semblance of accountability, or at least even acknowledgement of your actions, right?
Right.
And the problem is that, like, well, not the problem, but like there's a lot of fucking problems. But when certain people started getting involved, certain people with, like, you know, lots of followers and shit,
of course, started
making these accusations. Now it takes off, right? Now it's true. It don't matter what happened. Now it's just true. Because the big account said it, so if the big account said it, then oh well, all right, well it must be true, and all the followers believe it, and they go out into the world and they start acting like it's true. So which makes it true, basically.
Right.
Right. If you're acting like something is true, it's true. This is how I look at it. So now anybody who's even like remotely close to her is also evil.
Naturally.
Which includes basically every fucking black person, especially if they're trans.
Right.
Because now we're like, oh, well, why do you follow Jai? It's like, well, like, nigga, why would black trans... Exactly, like, why would black trans people associate with other black trans people, even if the black trans person might not be the best? Like, why do you think that might happen, nigga?
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, I wonder.
Kind of goofy ass shit is that?
Right.
Exactly, right? So...
Meanwhile, they're following, like, fucking, like, Blair White.
Yeah, meanwhile, you know, they're the ones just doing fucking racism, right? They're just making the situation even fucking worse. Because they don't even want to... Like, the way that this shit happens, right, is now anyone who says basically anything about, like, racism among trans people gets labeled, you know, a Jai or gets dismissed as, like, oh, well, you're just, you know, you're getting influenced by Jai because you follow people that follow Jai. So that's what's happening. That's what's happening. You're this, you're that. And they just write your shit off and they go on about doing their thing. And when it comes to the people that are involved in this, like, intimately involved in this, on all sides, I will say that no one wants to acknowledge their role in escalating the conflict, right? And this isn't to both sides the thing, right? I'm not saying, you know, this side's the victim, this side's that, but I'm saying this, having watched this shit happen for a little while as I have, it's like nobody wants to acknowledge that they have a role to play in the situation, right?
I get that.
Like, the example that comes to mind is like Eden, right? The girl that was fucking literally murdered by her parents because of that fucking bullshit they was doing to her, right?
Yeah, the determination shit.
Yeah, that's fucking heinous ass bullshit they was doing with that poor girl. But like, you know, apparently her and Jai had some beef or something like that. Like, or her and people that associate with Jai had some beef or something like that, right? And there's like, and it's funny because like they don't. When people get accused of shit, right, or, you know, anti-blackness or whatever gets pointed out, they always, like, fucking misinterpret this shit on purpose because they have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, people point it out, you know, because one of the things that people on Twitter was doing is putting, like, the sun emoji in their name, right? Because they want to be like, okay, well, they want to signal to us. It's like, it's a signifier, right?
Right.
They're doing what they can to, like, honor this poor girl's literal fucking murder, you know, like... I don't really have smoke for that. Like, whatever. If you want to do that, do that. I'm not gonna, yeah.
If anything, I would prefer people did that instead of the ended up happening with like Brianna Gay and shit. Go on.
Yeah. Like that literally have no problem with. Like, do your thing. I'm minding my fucking business, right? But there's been a bit of a trend that multiple people have noticed. Even fucking white people have noticed, like, that people with that emoji in their name were often like really fucking racist. And part of me thinks that they're putting, a lot of the people that put that in their name are doing so because they see it as like a fuck you to Jai, right? So Jai had a little while back made like a post or whatever just using emojis. Now, my read on the situation, and this is my read on the situation, doesn't mean this was actually happening, but again, you know, I'm a fucking person, right? My read on the situation is Jai did that with a little bit of ambiguity for the sake of trolling these people, right? So she put up like an emoji only fucking status or whatever, right? And in there with her dancing on, like, she put dancing emojis on either side of sun emoji, so it looks like she's dancing on it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and these people took it as, oh, she's dancing on Eden's grave. She doesn't exactly, right? Now, I don't think that's an appropriate interpretation, but I do think that Jai did that knowing that people would interpret it that way.
I was just about to say that. There's no way you couldn't have.
Right. So I think
there was also a tombstone in that tweet, LOL. I mean, yeah.
There was. Yeah, like it's not a great fucking tweet. I wouldn't do it, but I understand, I think, why she did it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that I'm cool with it. I mean, I don't need to explain this to you, but that's for everybody else.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't mean that I'm cool with it, but I understand why I think it happened. You feel me?
Yeah, I've definitely been in this position before. This is how I ended up in the conversation I was in with Shark.
Like, it's not something I would do. I think it's mad disrespectful, and it's one of the reasons that I do think that, you know, Jai might not be a very fucking kind person. You know what I mean?
Right.
But these people don't, on the other side of this, people don't want to acknowledge their role in the situation, and they don't want to look at that and see she's trolling y'all on purpose because of shit that y'all have been doing.
Right.
And, like, unhinged, ridiculous shit that y'all have been doing. You know what I mean? Like, y'all have just been fucking basically just been anti-black and refused to look at that. You refuse to listen to us, the people who are literally the experts, the subject matter fucking experts, right?
On blackness, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not even a fucking debate.
It got turned, well, nah, that gets turned into discourse, because, like, what if I want to listen to Candace Owens on blackness, you know?
Yeah, which is fucking ridiculous. It's like, man, you shut up. You know what the fuck you're doing. Like, you know what you're doing. Shut up, right? But even Candace Owens understands anti-blackness.
Exactly.
Right? She is responding to anti-blackness. She's just doing it really fucked up. But it does require her, for her to go around cooning the way she does, it does require her to understand anti-blackness. It is a defense mechanism in a lot of ways. It's also really fucked up, but again, it happens for a fucking reason.
Exactly.
It's not, you know, it's not like she's just magically fucking evil. No, she lives in a deeply anti-black world, and she's doing what she thinks she needs to do to keep her fucking bills paid, basically. Again, I don't agree with it. I don't think that justifies her fucking actions.
Understand
but that's
where
what's
the
happening.
sentiments come from, yeah.
Exactly. But that's what's happening, right? And that's what I mean when I say, like, these people don't want to look at their role in the situation because they keep doing this shit and they keep going and they keep hammering on about it. If you just, assuming for a second, right, even if I grant this, I don't think it hurts my fucking point. Assuming for a second that Jai is as evil as they say she is, right? The appropriate action in this situation is to block her and move the fuck on.
Right.
She has no power. Her power is derived solely, any power she has is derived solely from people being on quote-unquote her side because of anti-blackness. Right? So they're actively creating the situation and making it worse because to people like me or like you, when we look on, it looks like Jai is fucking justified in a lot of ways. And when it comes to anti-blackness, you know, black folks, generally speaking, we're gonna stick with other black folks. Like,
facts.
Come on now. Like, what are you expecting here?
Right.
So then now you've got a situation where, personally, I think both sides got legitimate gripes interpersonally, but now black folks are, and a lot of black folks are sticking to Jai because they see the anti-blackness.
Yep. I mean, and that's Bink says all the time. Like, I joke with her, like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm riding with black women, so
yeah.
That's pretty much just how it works.
I mean, basically, like
how I assess the situation.
You start doing ridiculous shit to a black person, my immediate reaction is to side with the black person.
Mm-hmm.
I'll figure out the rest of the shit later, but the anti-blackness needs to stop.
Basically.
Period. And a lot of white people don't understand that, and they take it as a fucking, you know, oh, well, you support Jai. No, nigga, anti-blackness is bad. Like, what the fuck?
Right. It's not okay to do sometimes, depending on who it is. Like, you should just not do
it. Exactly. And they don't see that they're doing it either. Right. I would say because they don't want to. Right? Because that would then force them to look at their role in the fucking situation. And they don't want to do that because they want to have them a black person that they can fucking beat on. That's it.
Or they want to be, you know, maintain what they consider their high ground. You know what I mean?
Exactly. As I said this exact shit on Twitter, so you already know what it is. Exactly that. They want to maintain their moral high ground. They want to maintain their victim status, so then they can turn around and do whatever the fuck they feel like they want to do. So they can. It's just like it's fucking like it's weaponized white fragility. It's weaponized white
This is the
toughness.
shit that they
That's what it
think
is.
that we're on with the Mayo side shit. Like they just wanna, they're mad about slavery, and you know they wanna just hunt white people for sport, and that's what land back is.
Fucking, it's just so like it is impossible to detangle the situation completely because of how far back it goes.
Yeah.
And because of the social dynamics and the individual behaviors of the people involved. So like, all right, so to give you an example of how this shit happens, right? Like Bill Bezos, that goofy ass motherfucker, right? He's one of them people.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say I don't know who. I've seen that name and I saw that account. I didn't know anything about them. I just instantly. We were actually just talking about people that you know are goofy as soon as you lay eyes on them. You know what I'm saying, like Rob Schneider, like Kevin Sorbo. Yeah, Bill Bezos or whatever. I just knew that nigga was goofy. Like I had no absolutely nothing about him.
You take a cursory glance at his fucking timeline. And just, right, and him, right? He spends his time pointing out the bad black people, basically, because of course he does. He's tap dancing. Is what he's doing, right? I had said something on Blue Sky about this situation because I watched it unfold there, and you know these people got a foothold over there because they got the Keffels and all of them over there early, so they got a foothold over there, and they were using it to other black folks and to push us out, and you know. Trying to make the space cater to their wants instead of the fact that like you know other people fucking exist. You know what I mean?
Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. So I had said something. And I was like, look, you know, I'm not here to defend shitty behavior, but this is what y'all are doing. You know, I explained like, look, y'all made a bad black, and now we're all paying the price for it. Y'all need to stop. You know, and I named some names. I named like Chinchillazilla and like you know. A couple of other folks that I know that are in that little circle of theirs, right? And I said, look, like, you know, y'all are naming this person without evidence for one, right? And two, you're naming this person and we're reaping the benefits for it, basically. Like you can't just like I get that you feel like you need to respond, blah blah blah, right? But you know, I don't need to explain the whole thing. You know, I was just being like, you know, it was a pretty fucking reasonable goddamn take. It was lukewarm at best, right? And this motherfucker screenshots my post and then puts it on Twitter and is like, you know, oh well, if your racial solidarity only applies to the worst kind of people, maybe it isn't about racial solidarity. And I'm like, nigga.
What? Hold on,
like,
cause yo, I don't know. That's
right. Let me finish.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
You're good. Right.
That coonery hit me, yo.
It's ridiculous because it's like, no, I defend all black people.
That's like the point of abolition. Like, come on now, what the fuck?
Yeah, like no, like you have seen a single post from me about a single person that I didn't make excuses for other behavior. I am talking specifically about anti-blackness, and I said that.
Right.
So you know, he basically just misrepresents me, right? Because he has to paint me as an evil fucking person. He has to paint me as a bad person. Because I can't say anything reasonable if I'm a bad person. If I'm a bad person, everything I say is unreasonable, right? Oh, that's mad loud. Let me move that. So, like... So he did that, right? And I unblocked his ass on Blue Sky and added him a whole bunch of times. He was like, look, nigga, if you got something to say, come fucking speak. Basically. And you already know what happened. He ain't saying not 2 words. He deleted his post though, but he didn't say not 2 words.
Okay.
Which is what I mean when I say these people don't want to examine their role in the situation. They just want to find themselves acceptable targets to further their own social goals. Because if he actually had a gripe with me, he could have just fucking talked to me. He saw the post on Blue Sky. Speak up.
Right.
I unblocked you. I gave you an opportunity to come speak up, so speak up. What's the reason? I gave you an opportunity to do literal conflict resolution, but you ain't want to do it. What's the reason? And to me, it's this. Because they don't want to acknowledge. They don't want to examine the fact that like people don't do shit for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Jai isn't doing what she's doing for no fucking reason. It's ridiculous. There's a reason behind it, and you don't want to take that seriously because it might implicate you. In fact, it likely will implicate you. So that's my read on the situation.
I feel it.
There's a bunch of white people being fucking racist. A black person that might be, probably is kind of shitty. And then everybody else getting wrapped up in this shit. Because white people, basically.
Makes sense.
That's how I see it. That whole situation is just fucking ridiculous.
That's kind of how because I obviously haven't been following that long. I just saw their name pop up on my shit within the last few months. Also, shout out to Ellie. Just got back from a strike.
Let's go, Ellie. I hope you threw a brick at somebody.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just the same fucking. It's the same shit on fucking repeat, man. Same shit on repeat.
Yeah, the same play, the playbook, the same play.
Yeah, this ain't nothing. We done seen this shit a million times before. It's just that the people that are doing this shit are people that other people like. So it's got a real fucking foothold.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Like, yeah, well, this person I like wouldn't do that. They're a good person. I'm like, motherfucker, good people don't exist. Stop.
Right.
Bad people don't exist. That's not a fucking thing. Evil isn't real. People don't want to fucking, they don't want to be present. They want to fucking transcend or something. I don't know what the fucking deal is.
At some point, Shark calls her an anti-black slur and gets all the white people's praise. I mean, what else is new?
I mean, again, same shit.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't see chat, so I don't know what chat is saying.
Oh, my fault. Yeah,
same shit.
Nemo.
No, you good.
Yeah, Nemo said that in chat.
Same shit, different day. Same shit, different day. And if you even try to speak any of this, you get labeled as a bad black too, and then your opinion gets written off, and then a whole bunch of people block you, and same isolation, blah blah blah. Regardless of what Jai did, like personally, I think that she's right now just being abused, literally.
Yeah.
This is all isolation. It's not like people are exercising their freedom of association, right? They're not saying, I don't want to be around this person, so I'm walking away. They're saying, I don't want to be around this person, and none of you are allowed to be around this person either. Which is what makes it look like abuse to me.
Yeah, I get that for sure. Because, like I said, I have very little interaction with her, and I've been blocked. I mean, I have my own baggage in terms of these people's opinions of me, but just yeah, I'm blocked because I follow this person that I only followed just to follow this shit. Because I'm sensing some anti-blackness here. This person is making the white people mad, and that's entertaining to me.
It is very entertaining to me. I don't follow her because I don't want to see her on my damn timeline, but
I feel
it is entertaining to me. I find it fucking amusing in a lot of ways. I also find it really fucking infuriating. But it's like
right.
It's the situation. It's like all right. To use an example, right? And I'm not trying to come for you or nothing, right? But it's an example that people in chat are gonna know because we had a whole fucking moment about it a couple of days ago.
I got
right?
you.
So you and Merrick, right? Say you homies with Merrick. Say you even start fucking Merrick or whatever, right?
Right.
Me and Big was clowning on you and telling you this, that, and the other, right? But we wasn't trying to isolate you.
Right.
Because you can make your own decisions about who you associate with. If I don't like it, I can make my own choice for who I associate with. If I want to step back from Endless because Endless fucking with Merrick, I can step back from Endless because Endless fucking with Merrick. What isn't cool is me to then go around whispering to your whole chat and everybody be like, you need to walk away from Endless. Because it is action that he took for his own reasons. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's abusive.
Yeah.
Straight up. And that's what they're doing. They think they have a legitimate gripe against this person, so now anybody that's even remotely associated with that person also needs to be isolated. Unless they walk away from her also.
I'm familiar.
And not just walk away, but you have to be fucking punitive. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely familiar with this.
It's just abuse. Straight up. That's all that is. That's abusive as hell. You tell me I can't walk around with somebody. We're not talking about a literal fucking Nazi here. You feel me? We're not talking about someone who was trying to fucking exterminate other people. We're talking about someone that was a dick to a friend of yours. It's ridiculous. Even if she was abusive, even if she had been abusive to to anybody, right? It's not a fucking reason to tell other people that they have to exercise their freedom of association a certain way, or you will isolate them. That's just abuse.
Yeah. Scapegoat shit.
Yeah, you're trying to compel actions that you think need to happen based upon other people's associations because of a read on a situation that you have, and like you said, never really said with any real fucking proof. They take these so it's a pattern I noticed that like a lot of white people do. I'm not saying black folks don't do this shit because I'm sure we do, but this is a pattern I've noticed prevalent among white people, right? They hyper focus on the immediacy of an action in a very specific context without giving the full context or acknowledging that the other person might have a reason for doing this shit, right? So, like, they'll be like, one of the things, like, oh, well, she dead named somebody. She dead named this person, right? Which she did. She did dead name somebody, right? But her explanation is, I didn't do it on purpose, right? And she says, which I have seen. I have seen screenshots of her apologizing for dead naming this person and deleting the offending tweet in question, right? So regardless if she's a shitty person or not, regardless if she did that dead naming on purpose or not, which we can't know, she acknowledged it, she apologized for it, and she rectified the situation.
Yep. Change the behavior, yep.
Exactly. But then they take that, and now, well, she dead named, she did this, she did that, and I'm like, all right, man, like, you're just saying shit now. You just got a fucking list of shit that you threw out there, and you're not even looking at the actual situation, because if you look at the actual situation, your victimhood status goes over.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's what I see. That's what I see, I should say. Like, I don't know if that is actually what's happening or whatever. I don't think it's even fucking possible to know, but that's the read I have on the situation.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So, yeah. Oh, nigga. These fucking people, bro. Like, man.
It's wild. Like, I would have never expected, because I started, like, I'm kind of an older user of all this shit. I used to fuck with YouTube back in, like, 2010. And I was seeing that shit back then with, like, the race realism shit or whatever that shit was when it was popping back then. And I would have never expected that we would land here. Here by 2020.
Well, so there's somebody on Twitter that I follow with the name of Ari. I don't know the app, but they were saying that this is something that extended back to like Discord servers at the beginning of the pandemic, right? Because a whole bunch of people realized they was trans during the pandemic, right?
Oh,
I did.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, ongoing pandemic, but at the beginning of the pandemic, I realized I was trans.
Right. I know someone who got locked up and actually they were institutionalized, like in a mental facility, and realized that they were trans. So.
I hope they're doing all right, but like.
Yeah. I was just talking because it was someone. Just as a quick sidebar, it was someone I reconnected with because we used to play music together in the scene here, way back when they were who they were before, and I saw them for the first time like since then, and it's one of those things where you're like, when you don't see someone for several years and then they're, you know what I mean, they're trans. It was kind of like, I didn't want to be rude, but I was, yeah, but she was cool. She was mad cool, and she's like writing a book about that shit or whatever. So
let's go. I hope you get that shit done.
Yeah, me too. What were you saying? I was doing a bunch of Pride shit this weekend.
No, you good. I forget what I was talking about. What was I saying? What I was saying?
People realized they were Discord servers because people realized they were trans.
Oh, right. So this person was a moderator in one of them, in at least one of those servers, right? So all these white trans people showed up to this server, right? Mm-hmm. And in that server, in that server or several servers, I don't know the whole situation, right? But what they were saying is in there, the same type of shit was happening. They come in, you know, these are people that actually do need help. Oh shit, my bad. My bad. These are people that actually do need help, right? These people that actually do need community, they actually do need resources. But then they come in as, you know, white people that are marginalized, which, like, you ask me, giving white people marginalization was the worst thing this fucking world ever did. But, you know, they come in, they're white people who are marginalized, and that they're the most important person in the room now, basically.
Of course.
And because of that, now, you know, they're doing this shit. They're doing this isolation shit, right? If you point out anti-blackness, now they're gonna dispute it. They're saying it's not anti-black, it's not this, and then they get into their little whisper networks, and they use that to isolate people. The same fucking shit. So apparently, this fucking behavior, if you ask me, like, this whole thing has a lot less to do with Jai than they're letting on. You know, I think it has to do with them wanting to prioritize themselves in trans spaces. And it's one of the reasons why I don't really trust people who are like, you know, only talk about trans issues.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not down really with somebody that's all you talk about, because you end up erasing a lot of difference within that. You feel me?
There's that, but also weirdly, because there's like a lot of cis people who want to do, like, I don't know if they're tapped into that, but like there's one dude in particular. I'm choosing peace at the moment, so I'm not gonna say his name, but it's just like this like random like cis straight dude. Just so much of his content is just like arguing with TERFs, and it's just really weird. And
it is mad weird. But like, you know, you're focusing on, oh, well, this is about trans people, this is about trans people, this is about trans people. Well, trans people aren't just trans, you know. They're black, they're disabled, they're you know, fucking Latino, they're everything.
All these different,
you know, we are
that intersectionality word we like to throw around, but don't really know how to actually.
We're everything, you know. Trans people exist everywhere. There's no intersection of human being that doesn't also include fucking trans people.
Same with black people.
Same with black. Same with every fucking intersection, if you ask me, with the exception of whiteness. Whiteness is the only one.
Whiteness is in itself, it's a structure of power. Like, you can't.
It's a political class.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid.
So you ask me, whiteness is functions specifically on obscuring perspective. It isn't a perspective in itself. It exists to hide information, not to reveal it. But either way, you know, when you focus only on trans issues, I think you inevitably end up doing a whole bunch of other shit. You inevitably end up doing ableism. You inevitably end up doing anti-blackness and, you know, xenophobia, etc., etc. I lost you. Oh, okay, you're there. My bad. I'm scrubbing the hell out of this.
Nah, I was just letting it marinate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but either way, right? That's like, basically that's the fucking genre. That's how I see what's going on with Jai. I'm trying to keep from going off into other subjects unless you want to, but that's what I see.
Nah, I'm always down for whatever. It's kind of what I do, channel. Especially when I get like Bink or like Pyro in here, we just kind of cook for however long. Which is the craziest part about how I get treated in this space, because like so much of my content's actually really fucking dope. But
I mean, I watch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But just in the last, like, especially in the immediate aftermath of like the whole reason I even encountered Shark 00 in the first place is because we were on Black History Month panel. That's when I was on that nigga's ass, like, immediately. The first thing he says when he hops on the mic is, "I've never heavily identified with my blackness." And I was like, you could see my eyebrow raise in the shits. I'm like,
I seen it. I saw
oh, you saw it? Yeah, okay.
I saw that. I don't know. I don't want to spend my time talking about cool.
Yeah, thanks. But anyway, suffice it to say, like, the conversation I had with Bink immediately after that, and then I don't know. There's so much other shit that I've done on even beyond just like conversation, like I have my boy Gary who does he's one of the people who works with like Baltimore Food Not Bombs, like cooking shit on Saturdays. Had him come talk about the history of it, like why he does it, and just like tell stories from doing it and shit. And she got elected. She actually got fucking elected to the school board, which was tight. But
that's dope.
Ashley Ashley Esposito, because she's like from not the part of the county. Well, I was from an adjacent part of the county, like right on the county city line. So I used to like ride my bike and shit through that neighborhood, and I like dated girls from that neighborhood and shit. And one of my homeboys, like one of my first best friends in high school, lived in that neighborhood that she's from. So we talked to her about it when we interviewed for the podcast, like about her campaign, and then she also works with Baltimore Abortion Fund, so I like interviewed her like live on stream, like about that and like the work that they do, and just like talking about like, you know, reproductive health care and all that kind of shit. And like when I do that shit, when I do that, I'll have, it'll be like right now 12 viewers, 15 viewers, etc., etc. But like. There was I won't say their goofy ass names either. I'm gonna also choose peace now. There was like a Twitter beef that was happening between me and another like goofy ass streamer, and someone who has like mad viewers rated me in with like 450 people just because they wanted to see me argue and go back and forth. That dude.
Of course they do.
So
it's fucking blood sport shit, man. Just blood sport shit. Oh, so alright, so this is another thing that like actually been fucking bothering me about this whole thing, because you know people write this off as like, you know, like fucking Juniper was like, you know, has said before and probably has said since, like, oh, you're wasting your time fighting on Twitter and that's just to come for us and blah blah blah. And it's like, Twitter's a real place,
right?
And for somebody like that to say that is ridiculous to me, because she is in the position she is in because of fucking Twitter.
Right.
Like, shut the fuck up, what are you talking about? You have reaped the benefits of this thing, and now when people are telling you about issues on it, now you don't care anymore. And the problem for me is like, for people who, like me, right? I'm higher risk when it comes to COVID. You know, I'm not high risk, but I am not low risk, so to speak. I mean, low risk doesn't exist when it comes to that shit.
Yeah, of course, because it's a neurological disease.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more than that. But either way, right?
Systemic,
you know,
yeah.
going to shit, you know, like, you know, going to like a union meeting for me is fucking actively fucking dangerous. Because people they're not masking, and they don't want to. You know, even when I bring it up, right? Even when I give them fucking reasons why they should be masking, backed with evidence, they don't want to do it anyway, right? So, you know, a lot of people like me, are isolated socially because of this situation. So then, naturally, you would turn to the internet because it allows you to connect with people outside of meat space, you know?
Right.
And also, people use they use that one for work. You know, I mean, you stream, so you understand to some degree, you know, promotion on Twitter. But also, people use that shit to fundraise.
Oh, I've done
They use
both.
that shit to get themselves out of... I have done both. They use that to get themselves out of fucked up situations, right? So then, when you do this isolation bullshit on there, you are cutting people off from resources. So there is actual meaningful harm going on here. Beyond, I mean, the harm of traumatizing someone with anti-blackness is harm enough, right? But there's also like monetary harm going on here, because now that you're isolating people who are trying to fundraise, and the people that you're isolating are overwhelmingly black, who are the people, when it comes to trans people, are the fucking people who need resources the most, and you're isolating them. It's fucking violent. It's violent as shit. And they don't want to acknowledge that, because then they might have to acknowledge that they're doing some shit that's not great, that probably doesn't align with their fucking values. This shit is aggravating. I mean, it's more than aggravating. It's fucking infuriating, but you know what I mean. It's just goofy ass fucking. I can't even call it goofy. It's fucking harmful fucking behavior.
Yeah. No fucking self-awareness whatsoever about it.
None. And if you try and say this, dead ass, like, and I'm fortunate that I have like the connections I do have, because a lot of this shit manages to bounce off of me because of who I fuck with and who fucks with me. You feel me?
Yeah.
But if I didn't have those connections, I'd be in the same fucking boat. If I wasn't down with Feek and them,
oh yeah,
I'd be in the same boat.
I mean, I kind of feel that way. Not that I'm like, in terms of like my view of like my content and shit. Like when I first got in here, before I found like Feek shit, before I found, because I followed a few of y'all, but I've had my YouTube account for like, God, like fucking like 15 years at this point. So a lot of y'all shit just didn't come up in the algorithm that until I started actually seeking y'all's shit out. So it's like, I'm already subscribed to y'all. Why is this shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was kind of my feel like when I got into the Twitch space. Like I first saw, you know, like the usual suspects in terms of the online left, air quotes. So I'm like, sure, I'll hop on here. Like I have a unique perspective and I have a semi-outgoing personality, and I'm nice as shit at video games. I'm nationally ranked in Mortal Kombat. I tick all the boxes. Why not? I'm here, try to help out my people, and maybe even get a bag while I'm at it. And that, before I knew that there was actually cool people on here, I was doing all the goofy shit, like the fucking, like the Nazi fucking debate panels and shit.
Yeah.
I did them like twice before I was like, nah, I'm just gonna do me. And I sat for a minute. Just kind of like, I actually quit streaming because I hadn't really found y'all. I think Soul Bunny was actually I forget how I even got in contact with Soul Bunny. Probably through Twitter actually. So.
Probably. I mean, that's how I got in touch with her. She reached out to me directly. And then, you know, I put her on with Feek and them, and now she's doing her thing.
Yeah, hell yeah. That was dope to watch happen in real time.
I mean, not to big up myself too much, but people don't know what I'll be doing, man.
Right.
And I'm not about to be out here, you know, holding myself. I don't need people to know what I'll be doing.
Right, exactly.
You know? I just do it.
You just do it for the love, yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's in my values, so I'm gonna do it.
I feel that 1,000%.
You know, yeah, like I don't talk to too many people about the shit I be doing out here in Philly, because like, why the fuck you need to know?
Exactly.
For one, you know, it's not as much as I would like it to be in the first place, but also two, like, I'm not gonna jeopardize the shit that I'm doing because I'm talking too much about it. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it, where I'm like, I'll talk about FMB because same reason. I'm probably not into it as much as I should be, but also everybody should have an FMB everywhere they are. It's perfectly legal for the most part, and it's like basic tier shit. Like, you don't even have to be perfectly ideologically aligned with the people you're doing it with to get it done and it be valuable to people where you're at.
But I mean, man, I don't know. This whole it's been wild watching this shit unfold. Like, it's kind of wild that they basically turned the person's name into a slur.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Her name is basically a slur now.
Like,
and I'd be sick if somebody turned my name into a fucking slur like that.
Oh fuck yeah. I've experienced some similar shit like that in real life, like neighborhood unfun. It's a similar situation. I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't bring it on myself. Fade Runner knows. I mean, it is what it is. I was talking mad spicy because, like, but anyway, there's this dude that when I was like a teenager in college and shit with. I'll just explain the whole fucking story.
All right.
This was because it's been like 15 years. We used to sell bud like back in the Prohibition days and shit. And so he was like these dumbass county white boys who like were just on some dumb shit. So they ran off on 2 of their other plugs. Like, this is something they'd done twice. They had to do the one time like at gunpoint. Like, we're like 16, 17 years old, like fucking crazy. But so they're like, all right.
We was on the same time, man. Go ahead.
I wasn't doing that type of shit though. Like I was just trying to get money and play video games. That's all I was trying to fucking do. These motherfuckers wanted to be on like mob ties type shit. So they're like, we need a new plug. And I'm like, all right, I know this white boy from Johns Hopkins who's from out Wisconsin or some shit like that. His parents got a whole big sack of money. He picks up weight and shit. But like, if I put y'all onto this connect, y'all cannot fuck this up the way that, you know what I mean? Just like, because this is going to be my name attached to this shit. And the dude is goofy, but I just want to be able to continue to not have to eat noodles every night.
Kind of lose weight, man. That's it. Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is I was getting off them just off of a good look and didn't realize they were taxing. They were they were by like almost $100 too. So I was under with them, and I'm like, you know what? Just to preserve a friendship, I'm just gonna not even say shit about it. I'm just gonna go straight to dude, just because he moves small shit now too, just for the good look, and I'll get them back or whatever. And I guess I wasn't getting them back like quick enough because these motherfuckers like busted my windows and shit out my car like twice and like fucked it up too. They did it with like a fucking They did it with like a fucking like a tire iron or some shit because it like fucked up the A panel on my car too and made my shit like mad rusty for a minute. So I'm like, yo, why would you fucking, you know what I mean? We're men. You know what I'm saying? Like, come jump me or something. What the fuck you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
what the fuck you doing? You got a problem, come say something.
Right. So it's kind of like that for a minute. And we beefed for like forever. Like I ended up because the one dude lived with his mom. I ended up fucking the one dude's girlfriend while he was in jail. So I just kind of I never told him. Just like kind of just kept that tucked. So I settled that out.
We cucking out here. Yeah.
Cucking. But the other dude was like known for like he like low key roided and shit. Was known for like sneaking people and shit. So like I wanted that smoke. I was mad he didn't come at me on that level. Because the general consensus is that he would have beat my ass and shit, right? So why didn't he do that? I wanted to see that happen, but he lived with his mom. So when I pulled up on him one time, cause he was mad because I didn't want to squash it. Like I used to deliver pizzas on the side too. I delivered a pizza to his house. He was like, "Yo, you trying to squash this beef?" I told him point blank, I'm like, "There ain't no beef. You're just a goofy nigga, and I just don't fuck with you." And he like got mad as shit and act like he was gonna square up on me. And I was like, I got $500 of somebody else's money in my pocket, my nigga. I'm not gonna fight you. I'm gonna hurt you, and then I'm gonna leave. So I came back after I clocked out. Like, what's good? Where was that energy from before? She said he was at football practice. So some time passes, and the nigga he dies. Like he straight up dies. And this was after we said some real greasy shit. Like his dad died, so I just constantly talk shit to him about his dead dad. He'd be like, "I'm gonna get you, nigga," and I'd be like, "Yeah, but you know what you're definitely not gonna get? A present from your birthday and from your dad." Just like say greasy shit like that to him. And so he dies in a car accident. He hit a tree. And this wasn't even my meme. A homie of mine who like was hip to the beef, it was like also on fuck that nigga time, sent me a meme that was a Lorax. It was like, "I'm the Lorax and I speak for the trees." And the trees say, "Fuck this nigga so-and-so." And just feeling extra spicy, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna post this shit just on my Facebook. And like somebody, cause my shit was private. And his friends like showed his family. So like his family members were like coming to my page to comment on it and like it and shit. And they were sharing it amongst each other. Like this is all on Facebook. So I'm like, yo, this is kind of wild. So there was, they fucked, my name was straight up. It was like, yo, if you fuck with Kevin Rucker, I'm not fucking with you. I just said my full name, but whatever.
I mean, do what you want to do.
Fuck it.
But like it's just that, you know, man, like the shit I would do if somebody turned my name into a slur. Like if you turn my name into a slur and use it against me, whatever. You fuck with me. Right. Right. But to do that, I mean, it would be a slur at that point. But then to do that and then use it against other black people, like, nah, we got a problem. Now we got a problem.
Yeah.
Because before you was just talking shit. But now you fucking with my people over some beef that we got.
Right.
Now that shit can't fly. That shit can't go. That's that's basically what these motherfuckers is doing. So if you ask me, that's basically what they're doing.
It looked that way to me, so.
Right? Like, for people, it's kind of wild to me because, like, when people come into this situation from the outside and they look at it, and, you know, I should say, when black people come into this situation from the outside and they look at it, they're like, yeah, this is just, y'all are just being racist, you know? Like, it's plain as day, but they don't want to see the shit. Because they would have to, they can't, because they would then have to engage.
Self-examine it, though.
Yeah, exactly. You're forced to not only look at yourself, but look at the outcome of your actions, not the intent, but what your actions have done. And they don't want to do that. It's like if I ever get big, right, and I got personal beef with somebody, nobody's gonna hear about that shit.
Right.
Literally nobody's gonna hear about that shit because I know what the fuck fandoms do. I know what followers do. And even if I were to ask them not to do that shit, they're still gonna do it because they're their own people and they're making their own fucking choices.
And people do that shit, like, that makes it even more sus when people do that shit to me, honestly. Is when you're doing that and then you're telling your audience, like, no, don't harass them, don't brigade them, blah blah blah. You know what the fuck is going on. Otherwise,
you know exactly what's happening. Exactly, but also, like, it's a way for them to shove off responsibility for the situation. Like, well, I told them not to. Like, yeah, you told them not to, but, like, you know what the fuck's gonna happen. Like, don't act silly. Don't act fucking aloof and shit. Don't act like you don't fucking know. Like, I've seen a bunch of the bigger, you know, follower accounts that are involved with this shit, right? Who be like, well, I can't respond. I'm not allowed to respond when they do shit to me. I'm like, well, first of all, assuming they're actually doing it to you, nobody said you can't respond. There's more than one way to respond. And throwing a name out there like that, you got like, you talking about people 100,000, 200,000 followers. You throw a name out there like that, they're gonna take what you say is true, and then they're gonna go and do shit to this other person and everybody that's associated with them. And that's how you get fucking Jai Orbiter. And that's how you get basically every black trans person on fucking Twitter, like, yo, y'all are being fucking racist. Like, y'all are being anti-black, and they're like, no, we're not. Well, okay, cool. All right. All right then. You're the expert, so let me fall back. The shit is just fucking... The shit makes me want to fucking, like, throw bricks at niggas, man. That's what the shit makes me want to do.
Facts.
Like, I ain't gonna devote any energy to these people, but, like, I low-key want them to try the shit that they trying with her on me. That's what I really want them to do that.
I feel that way a lot. I feel that.
Like, you can go ahead and do that to me. Watch what happens to you. Go ahead and do that to me. You're not gonna like it. I promise you're not gonna like it. Because I don't respond the way that Jai does. I don't troll you like that.
Yeah.
You know, I move in silence. You just gonna feel some shit one day. You'll feel some shit one day, and you're gonna be upset about it.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that 1,000% as usual. That's also another reason why I wouldn't want people. I wouldn't want nobody. That's also a reason why you don't want to, like, you wouldn't want to fucking beef with people publicly like that, because it's just like, I'm just gonna just see what's up.
Yeah, like, I don't need to beef with you publicly. I just move back here, and then when you feel it, I'm gonna tap you on the shoulder, and I'm gonna let you know I'm the reason you feeling it. And don't nobody else need to know, because that's not the point.
Right.
I'm not trying to fucking rope nobody else into it. Me and you got beef, so me and you gonna handle it. The fuck I need all these other niggas for? Like, come on now. Shit is fucking. These people is just like. I was talking to Colormind about this shit the other day. well, color mine and Bill, not the Jai thing, but like this, right? Like white people overwhelmingly, and some non-black people, depends on who you're talking about, right? But white people don't know how to do conflict, yo.
Yeah.
They don't know how to they don't know how to speak. They don't know how to stand on business. You know, they do all this like underhanded double talk and back, you know, like fucking, you know, hinting around the shit. Like I remember I was in a meeting with like a bunch of like, you know, like white and otherwise non-black anarchists, right? And then like one other black person. And they like if one person was disagreeing with someone else, they like I don't know, yo, the shit's mad weird, they just talking around it. And like if I got a disagreement, I'm just like, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
Like I'm right here, you know, I'm standing on my square, nigga, like I'm just gonna say this shit. Like, this is what I see, this is my opinion.
Right.
There you go. Now we can fucking talk. But they do this shit where they like, I don't know, man. This shit is like, it's like a fucking like a military maneuver, you know? Like they gotta fucking outflank you and like all this other weird shit. It's like you don't know how to just like stand the fuck up. I don't understand that shit. It don't make no damn sense to me. Because like, you hiding your hand. That's the point of that, right? If you hide in your hand. And if you hide in your hand, how the fuck am I supposed to engage with you? You're not telling me what the deal is, so how the fuck am I supposed to you know?
Right.
But if I can't even understand what the fuck you trying to put out there, then how the fuck how fuck am I answer that shit? Which I think is the point, but you know. That's just my opinion on the matter.
Stealth mode.
Oh, I don't know, man. These people are just fucking goofy, yo. Like I don't really. I'm not bringing. I have met my quota for white people. I ain't bringing any more white people around me. I've even started to thin the herd, so to speak. You know, I have started to pull white people out of my circle.
Yeah.
I ain't got time for that shit, man. I ain't got time for that shit, man.
I was just about to say, speaking of that, I'm about to drag Ellie in because Ellie just got back from the strike. I think she's gonna tell us about it.
Go ahead. Well, I'm a dip, not because she's coming in, but I'm a dip because I got shit I gotta do.
Yeah, I figure you were like doing shit this whole time. I think you had some other shit going.
Yeah, I gotta walk my dog and shit. All right, yeah.
Thanks for coming through and explaining the whole shit.
Appreciate you, nigga. I mean, and to be clear, I didn't explain the whole thing. I explained my perspective on the
right, yeah.
I don't want nobody going out there acting, you know.
Right, I trust your perspective more than most. So.
I hear you, my nigga. I hear you. All right, yo, I'm out.
All right. All right. What's up, Ellie?
Hey.
How you doing?
I am sweaty and I am tired, but I am back. It's so fucking hot out. Actually, it wasn't too bad, but it was still pretty fucking hot. But yeah, no, I just got back from the strike right about an hour ago.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. It's probably hot as fuck out.
Oh my god, no. Oh, I'm just glad that I'm just glad that I'm finally able to just, I don't know, because I could be outside without like having a massive fucking headache.
Yeah.
Because I was at Pride downtown a couple days ago, and I wasn't even out there for more than 2 hours, and I immediately just got a headache within 30 minutes. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
I didn't do anything this weekend. I did. I went to like one dance party, but it was like hot inside. It's like.
No, yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna tell you about the strike because I'm still so fucking hyped about it. So yeah, this is my first ever strike as like an actual worker, like on strike. I'm actually still kind of afraid about it because I'm still a trainee in my job. So I don't know if they're gonna retaliate against me specifically because I went on strike.
They cannot do that legally. Anyway.
I know, but they might still try it anyway, and they might still try and reprimand me for it.
That's true.
Like, nope, that is a legally protected activity. I have photo evidence that I was there as a striking worker. I did not do a no call, no show. I was out there. My fucking manager literally was out there. Like, she could have seen me at any time. So like, we all know, you know, But anyway, I wasn't even expecting this because like I had only just started this job this month. I'm still I'm still a trainee, but they actually had me speak at the fucking strike. And I'm not gonna lie, I fucking killed it.
Oh yeah.
Whenever they asked me, I was like, oh shit, you know. And I just started like, I got my phone out immediately. I just started writing shit down on my little notes app, and then within 10, 15 minutes, I already had like an entire several paragraphs worth of shit, like all written out, all ready to go, and. So yeah, no, and then after like some of the like DSA organizers started talking, they brought one worker from each of the stores that were on strike today, to speak, and I was the one for the store that we were all at, which is the one near my house, the one that I work at, and so anyway. So I came up to speak. They gave me the little megaphone. I didn't really know how it worked, so like I had a mask on, so they couldn't quite hear me at first. But then I put my mask down, and I put it right up to my lips, But yeah, no, I pretty much what I wanted to emphasize was basically that one. Starbucks doesn't give a fuck about us queer people, and that they only want to profit off us, our bodies and our dead and our symbols. That's all they want to do. They don't give a fuck about us, and that we're the queer community, not them, not their fucking markets, not their fucking shill bullshit, not their capitalist nonsense. It's us. We're the community. Second, I wanted to give attention to the fact that ultimately the most vulnerable within the trans community are not going to be present here today, because a lot of I know, and I have been in contact with a lot of girls who are still out on the street, who are homeless or who were homeless, or who are just economically, what would be in the, I guess, kind of Marxist terms about it, be lumpen, whatever the fuck,
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to be at the picket line. They're not going to be at the shop floor,
Right.
And so I wanted to, and also I said, take this time as a springboard, like this community here, to I openly advocated for people to make autonomous structures towards the goal of queer liberation and for the survival of our community here against the shadow of state repression. And then finally, the main thing that I did want to get across that was the very end, which was, don't let anybody take this from you as workers, my fellow, all of my coworkers and all of my fellow Starbucks workers, or partners, as they say. Nobody else made this strike happen but you. It is your power. You're the one who came together. You're the one who made this happen. Don't let anybody else say anything other than you, who were the ones who did it, and take pride in that. And then yeah, that was pretty much the gist of the whole speech, and I fucking killed it. And I even, because I was even able to do the cute little call and response thing that Ashanti often does when he speaks.
Nice.
With the all power to the people. I was like, hey, a comrade that I was able to talk to recently, he does this thing. I hope you don't mind. And so then they said yeah. And so I did it at the start, and yeah, no.
Nice.
And I ended up ending it off the same way, where I said all power to the people, and they all cheered and clapped and shit. And I'm really my God, I it's funny because I've never been done a speech like that before, especially on off no planning, nothing. My God, oh no. After that, my own top union people within my store were like, hey, Ellie, you need to get into this. That was an amazing speech. And I'm like, okay. Because I didn't know quite how well my very clearly radical talking points were at, but I was able to sell people on that a little bit. you know, because I'm sure it's a DSA event, and a lot of people who are here at the Starbucks are often pretty radical, depending on the background.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I guess making that known was still kind of a risk, because it's still like a DSA union event. You know, they still got people like, you know, we still got like some liberal organizations out there. There was a couple other people there, like this fucking PSL was there too. But they were just hanging out in the corner. They weren't doing shit. They were just there to leech off our shit. That's really all they were doing. It's like, hey, we're here to support the workers. It's like, do you know any of these people? Have you organized any fucking, like, are y'all actually like workers here? No? Okay. Wow. Yeah, yeah. So they rightfully kept to the corner because they didn't fucking know anybody. They weren't very social. They didn't do anything, you know. But yeah, no, I'm gonna get a video of that speech soon, and I'm so fucking excited.
That's sick.
I'm gonna send it to you whenever the moment I get it, and yeah, I'm still just absolutely fucking hyped. And then in a couple fucking hours, this really fucking cute girl is gonna come to my place and we're gonna watch a movie together. Just, yes! I am winning today. I'm so fucking happy.
That sounds pretty winning.
Yes.
That sounds what did fuck was his name? Charlie Sheen. He's like, are you bipolar? I'm bi winning.
Hashtag winning.
I'm motherfucking Charlie Sheen. Like, all right, dude. You know, snort another one for me, man. But yeah, how have you been, Endless? I was able to catch the back end of that conversation that you had with that person. I forgot their name.
That's Bellamy.
Bellamy. Okay. Yeah. No, I've seen them on YouTube a bit because they, you know, they're in this kind of the same spaces as some of the other people that I've been watching. But yeah. And how are you doing, Lucid?
The people who actually know what they're doing. But go ahead, Lucid. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm good.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you asking. No, I'm good. I'm trying to work on some shit for my stream. Basically working on my stream room. You know, if you see that little 3D thing I do. But yeah, like same thing with Ellie. I kind of came in on the back end of that conversation. It sounded like something I kind of like. I feel like I got the idea that you're like Bellamy was talking about, kind of I guess the struggles of being a trans creator, without like support from you know, like Feek in the cornbread community. Am I correct, or am I like off by like?
It kind of got there. We just spun it there just because, it's Bellamy. But
yeah.
I originally asked about someone kind of unrelated. That's she's on Twitter, is a black trans woman that, like, as far as what I understand from what Bellamy was telling me, there was some spicy chat coming from her, and it got misinterpreted by the general like white left space, and became a thing where now it's engaging in anti-black behavior where they're just trying to isolate this person and make them just seem like an untouchable, like persona non grata, and I won't say no reason, just I don't think there's any reason to do the type of shit that they're doing, but the reason why they're doing it in the first place is kind of really goofy. And
yeah,
that of course kind of turned into a conversation about one of the consequences of that is, you know, being cut off from resources, because a lot of people can't go out and meet space. And, you know, at the beginning of the pandemic, that was one of the ways, like the main way really a lot of people kept their head above water was like, you know, sending out Cash App links, PayPal links, Venmo links, all this other stuff. And, you know, when you're affecting people's ability to fundraise for themselves or for maybe even organizations that they support, because like there's people that have there's people that have just blocked me just off the strength of before we even, because this is how we even got there, is there's people that have blocked me because I follow this person, and before we even got there, people were blocking me behind my conversation with Shark300 and all that stuff. So it was just like it was just, I related to it just as someone who's not to the extent that especially the black trans women get on here, but just like because you know, just being me and saying some of the things that I say and how people have treated me in this space has been mad weird. And we talked about something else too, but yeah, that's where we were at with it. It was just that situation. It looks like anti-blackness from the outside because it is. There's kind of a really dumb
What is
reason
an
why.
anti-blackness at this point?
What's that?
What is an anti-blackness at this point?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I was
Seriously.
saying. Like all the shit that they were doing, they're just like, oh, this is just like hella textbook. But it sucks to be watching happen in real time, and because it's happening to a black trans woman, and so by extension, all the people that she shares community with are gonna catch, you know, crossfire from that shit, and it's just like it's a really fucking silly state of affairs. Oh, I'm speaking of silly shit. I'm like, why can't I get in this door?
Goofy.
So Ellie, you're saying you were striking for your local Starbucks union?
Yeah, no. My store was one of the 4 union stores today that went on strike for the whole day. Mainly over. This was a national thing. I would say this is a national thing. Basically, being that you might have heard like over fucking Twitter or whatever the fuck, but certain Starbucks stores across the country are being forcibly removing Pride shit from their stores. From the management down. Initially, Starbucks like corporate refused to like say that was happening, but then other managers went to the press and said, actually no, this is happening, and confirmed the story. So it wasn't like a he said she said thing. It's like, okay,
They just tried to deny it at first and got
they tried to deny it and be like, oh no, this we are unaware of anything like that happening. We love Pride, and then you know.
Oh, like the pee bottles, the piss bottles at Amazon, right?
Right, exactly. Like they try to fucking deny it, and but that was the main thing that we were also supposedly striking for, and it's like, yeah, that's bullshit, you know, because our Pride thing for our store back a couple months ago, we had it up like year round, but like in May, we had it, we had to have our big Pride flag at the front of our store removed, and put into the very back of the store, and it also made a little smaller. So it's not something that we directly experienced in this current wave, but yeah, for me though.
And are you in like a blue state or a red state?
I live in Missouri. I live in St. Louis. So like all these stores here in St. Louis, we're probably one of the most active cities in the union, nationally. Like I think right now with the amount of stores that we're trying to unionize, we're actually competing with Chicago with those kind of numbers. We have like 7 unionized stores so far. We have another. We actually just got word today that an 8th store just filed and went public. So off forgot the name of it, but yeah. So there's 8 official stores now that are going to be or in the process of unionizing or are already unionized, like mine. And so so we were striking today because of that, and also that's the main unfair labor practice if you're talking about like labor law that we're striking over, that we have the right to strike over. We also obviously none of us have gotten a contract nationwide. We haven't been able to we haven't even gotten anything as close to like credit card tipping, which would give us hundreds of dollars a month extra in money that would cost the company nothing. Right. But they say as an excuse like, oh well, we don't want to make any unilateral decisions before any contract is made, so we're not going to give you credit card tipping right now. But they use that as an excuse, but then they will literally unilaterally at several union stores just take Pride shit down because they don't want to have conflict or potential conflict with fucking racists and fascists, Right. So like it's for me, whenever I was trying to talk to people like outside of the fucking like workforce, my main emphasis when I was talking to people was like, hey, I'm behind on rent. I can't fucking afford to work 30 hours a week, $15 an hour with this fucking job. When I was told that this is supposed to be able to be a full-time job, when that's clearly not the case. I can't afford to fucking work here on my own. I'm still trying to find a new second job on top of this to be able to cover my bills and maybe even catch up, possibly. You know, who knows? But
I remember us
so
talking about that, and like telling you like to look at like entertainment centers.
yeah, no, I actually
Chuck E. Cheese or some shit.
I just applied to a few different places like earlier this month or earlier this week, so I should be able to hear back from them. You know, but
oh shit, I'm old. It just occurred to me it's summertime.
Yeah, it's summer.
Like
yes, it is
so
summer.
like it just occurred, right? So I was like, those places are gonna be mad packed. Like they're gonna need people. So
right.
It just occurred to me. That's how old I am. I was like, what's summer?
Right.
No. I got the only reason why I even know summer exists these days was because I used to work in education before getting this Starbucks job. So like
right, same. But I haven't worked in education in so long.
Right.
Like, my roommate's kid is gone for this summer, and it's still like, oh hey, yeah, he's gone. He's just not here.
Funny. No, but yeah, so like that's pretty much the gist of like why we were striking here. You know, but yeah, no, there's 3 other stores outside of mine that were striking. You know, we all had a picket line in the morning, and then we all had a rally at my store at like 11. And then basically I'm still fucking reeling at the fact that I even made that fucking speech out there. Like right afterwards, I just immediately the adrenaline came straight out of my body, and I was starting to shake, and like my stomach didn't feel good. I'm like, oh shit. But you know, but like I've never done that kind of public speaking, but especially in a political context before. I've never done that, you know, so it was just crazy. But yeah, no, I mean, it was a pretty good day. Nobody got overheated or anything. Actually, one of my friends, one of my comrades actually from the anarchist organization that I run with, she brought a whole bunch of stuff from our free store that we usually do. Like she brought a whole tent. She brought a whole her whole like protest gear. She was all kitted out. Like it was crazy. She was there as basically like the strike medic, and she was very, very much like I love her so much. She's such a good like friend and comrade, and she's there, and she puts in the work, and I love her so much. So it was all a really good day, and I'm still gonna continue to be winning, and I'm so fucking happy. Oh no!
Street medics
absolutely.
are crucial. Yeah, street medics are
Yeah.
as fuck.
Yeah, it's funny because like other people complimented me. It's like, oh hey, thank you so much for like bringing her out. Like you were a godsend. I'm like, yeah, no, I mean I'm grateful to be able to have all these like contacts within like the local protest / street medic like group, because like I've also been like a protest medic several times. So like, you know, just being able to use that for something good, you know, something genuine and cool, was just really, really inspiring to me.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
No.
Yeah.
Bust
no.
out the zines, yeah. I was just reading chat. Someone said this when you bust out the zines.
Honestly, I wish I had the fucking zines on me, but I didn't want to come off as more of a proselytizer than I already risked myself being.
I feel
like
that.
I was already a partner and a coworker, and I was speaking from my experience, and I was already, you know, talking whatever I needed to talk with. I already actually had a couple coworkers getting interested in my politics because they were actually like, "Oh yeah, you seem to know what you're talking about." I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for years. You know, I was actually talking to my trainer, who's the person who's been training me at the on the job, because they've been working here for about a year, and they're like, they've been super heavy in the union, but they're trying to figure out their politics. Yeah, they're kind of like vague anti-capitalism, but they want to learn more. But it's like really, and I was like, well, hey, actually, my anarchist org is like doing this book club, and we actually like read our shit aloud, you know, like on the time that we talk. So like we actually, it's like for people who might have difficulty reading, they might just be able to listen along and talk about it, you know, and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. So like just things like that, or like talking about like, you know, all the other things, you know, that I would usually talk about, you know, like all the shit that I usually talk about.
Actually,
And
that's
yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
it's
but
okay.
that's an interesting point you made about the fact that like I do wonder like how much effort is put into including like the visually and audibly disabled in these movements. You know what I mean? Like this fact that you're like just that thought of like, oh well, if we take for granted how few people actually can competently read in this country. It's not even their fault. It's our education system. Right, but we take for granted how many people really can't read well, right? So they're going to kind of miss big concept, or these big concepts are going to kind of just fly over them or kind of intimidate them.
Right.
But I also think like people who are, you have your zine. How many people who are blind, come across a zine can read it, right? Is the zine available like in auditory form that's easy for like, and that's not even like a critique. Like, is it more available? But I do wonder like how much thought, because that's something I often think about as someone who used to
use the best restroom really quick. I'll be right back. Y'all can keep.
It's okay.
Yeah. I used to work in you say like you used to work in education, so did I, and I actually used to work in like special education, right? So I used to work in an autism center for a bit. So I the accessibility in this world has like something I kind of became, or the lack of accessibility right in our modern age is something I kind of became very aware to, where it's kind of like it's interesting all these tools we do have, but it's also kind of disheartening how much we're still lacking, right? And even in I feel like in like kind of leftist positive spaces, how much we kind of don't think about those people, right? Where they're not inherently also included in the conversation. I would say the same way that trans people weren't necessarily inherently part of the conversation in leftist groups until we realized like, hey, we need to be more intersectional about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like for me, just doing shit out loud, because like there's so many of us that like have like ADHD, so like actively reading it together like out loud and like practicing, and like actually like me doing the book club before actually helped exponentially increase my capacity to read aloud and speak in a way that I didn't have before. And that's actually something that anarchists like talk about all the time when it comes to like the things that you do don't just have an effect on the world around you, but they have an effect on you as well in this and just as much, if not more, of a capacity, right? So like me helping facilitate a book club and me partaking in it actually helped in not just having other people learn knowledge, which obviously like that's part of it, but it helped in my own capacity to read and to learn and to listen. So now I'm able to crush books in a way that I never would have been able to do just a couple years ago. Like, and it's just crazy. And so like, that's what I was kind of telling my friend, my trainer, like, yeah, you might, have difficulty like reading aloud, but like you shouldn't feel intimidated, because I also had a lot of difficulty then. But after I practiced more and more within this space to read aloud and talk about it, and comprehend the things that we're saying, on the spot. Like if someone says something, we usually like if someone says something that we like really like or fuck with, we'll talk about it. And sometimes it'll mean that over a certain amount of time we won't even talk about the passage itself in terms of like reading it. We'll just talk about our feelings or thoughts about it for the rest of the session. Sure, it'll make reading something longer than some other book club, but it's a lot more engaging. And so I'm glad that we're going to be able to bring that book club back, because honestly, we've been kind of lacking in political education in a while, and that is absolutely 100% necessary. It's just that we've been mainly focusing on like shit like the free store since like November. And now that we have that consistently done and we know how that works and we're good with that, and now we're gonna try and move towards like, okay, let's do the book club again, and help bring the new people that we were able to gain over the course of that time to help enhance all of our political education and be able to enrich ourselves in that perspective. So I definitely agree that like we should, as much as possible, make sure that the work that we do is accessible to just regular ass people. And I think so far, from the way in which I've been able to do things with the people, with the audiences that we do have, we've been able to make it as accessible as we can for the people that are going to need it the most. And especially the people who are actively interested in radical politics, but feel intimidated by some of the more mainstream organizations, or maybe even some of the more revolutionary organizations that are just like, you know, like, I don't know, PSL or some shit, like, or other like party structures, and they're just kind of like, I'm not an avid reader, I just want to like do cool shit, but I also want to learn in a way that I'm not going to feel like I'm a dum-dum, you know, or I have to read like dirty ass fucking tomes from like Trotsky or Marx or some, you know, I don't know, maybe some obscure American communist from like 1947. I don't
That was one of my
know.
favorite memes. It's like, dude, being a leftist sucks. I gotta read like 37 books, and all you have to do to be a right winger is just like spin the block on trans people.
No, seriously. Like, and that's why, especially whenever I started like creating like essays and stuff, like I wanted to make the essays that I would write accessible in the way that I'd be able to give it to somebody who's like an average person and they'd be able to like understand it. And so I think I would say I'd pride myself pretty well on the accessibility of the stuff that I've been able to create personally and interconnect it with the work that I've been able to do. And so yeah, I'm quite, I would say yes, I do feel a sense of pride in that regard.
Speaking of pride, that dude has to be proud of the fact that he's banned in 66 fucking channels. There's no way. Bro. There's no fucking way.
Add another channel to that list.
I thought
bitch.
I was no lifing on this fucking game. That shit is crazy. That is
66
no life.
channels, man. Oh my god.
My man Banner says, "Touch the sun." Touch the sun.
Not really sure what you guys are talking about, but it sounds excessive.
Someone came in. I didn't even see what they said.
Me neither.
It's probably goofy.
Already gone.
Right, but I did see that they were banned in 65 channels before they got banned.
Very obvious troll.
Yeah.
Like one of the most obvious fucking. No. Bro, I don't even watch 65 channels. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I don't even watch that many. How the fuck? No life in Twitch over here. Like, that's genuinely sad. Like, go outside. Like, go to the gym. Something. Like, go on a date. Fuck. Like, Jesus. That just sounds miserable. I feel bad for that person. Like, it sounds absolutely fucking miserable.
He got banned from a chat at least once a week for a year.
That's a dedication to fucking tomfoolery right there.
Honestly, maybe that's what they're trying to do.
They're trying to be the world's goofiest fucking reply guy on fucking Twitch.
52 weeks in a year, and this nigga got banned from 65 plus.
I just feel like that scene from like the Civil War, where it's like everyone's got a gimmick. Where they finally see Spider-Man.
Got a gimmick
Most
now.
banned.
A metal arm, that's so cool. God, fucking.
Right? He's all like, how's your gimmick being like? I need to be the worst person ever.
No, honestly, that sounds like the kind of guy that would like, just straight up like. I'm trying to think like one of the fucking loner kids at the one of the loner kids at the loner table where all like the potential school shooters are at in the fucking high school. It's one of those guys. Like I feel like that's
grandma for a hug.
Seriously, no. Yeah, I feel like that kind of person is like comes from that background where it's just like complete fucking loner, absolutely useless in society.
You know, here's the thing I'll say though, and I think I feel like, because I don't like giving South Park any kind of like props, but there's few times when it doesn't have to do with race, they may have a point when it doesn't have to do with race, anything at all. So when they had that whole season about trolls online, and it was Kyle's dad being like the worst troll in South Park. I feel like they had some point in that where like too often like we tried to like limit like, man, these people are like these ogres in their office or something, just being off to. I'm like, but anyone that's like, you know, I'm sure Endless can attest to this, like, you know, especially if you work office jobs, like they're those dudes that like if they're not saying it, they're the shit that they're saying online, they're saying it in the office.
Oh yeah.
And it just won't shut up, right? And they're normal dudes. They might have wives and kids, but the shit that they're like just the worst. And I'm like, why? Like, is your life that unfulfilling?
It really is.
So
No,
you gotta ask grandma for a hug.
No, because like I grew up in a pretty isolated suburban white bubble, like middle upper class like bubble.
Yeah.
And my dad, he actually came from poverty, like from like a fucking Atlanta in Florida. Like he was basically like white trailer trash for almost his entire life up until like he was an adult. And he has a lot of fucking trauma from his own upbringing, from his shitty fucking parents, and especially his shitty fucking dad. And so he wanted to escape that poverty, you know? And it's like, I totally understand that. I mean, he even bragged to me one time about how he scabbed for a fucking UPS strike back in the day.
Oh no.
I'm like, you are proud of that? Bro,
he was a scab.
He literally bragged to me about being a UPS scab, even though he benefited so much from UPS in terms of the benefits that it gave him and the mobility that it gave him. He still fucking betrayed.
For a second, I thought you said that he got stabbed for a UPS strike.
No,
that's pretty badass.
No,
like,
way less cool, way more of a loser.
The complete opposite.
No, he just straight up scabbed on his fucking coworkers because he called them entitled and whiny and overpaid. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, no.
And there are certain things that there are certain things where it's like I can't forgive scabbing, but it's like, yo, in this whole capitalist world, we all still gotta eat, right? We still gotta. So there's one of those where it's like, you got like a whole family and like. You know what I mean? But if it's just like when you're saying shit like that, like I can't have any sympathy for you when you're like, oh, everyone else is entitled. I was like, dude, like we all struggling. I guess you struggling too. But how you gonna like shit on your coworkers?
No, yeah. Like... but anyway, he basically made it by the time that I was born. Right? He grinded to fucking pulp. He
made the Sigma male grind set.
He literally did. Like both my parents like worked an astronomical
I just need to bring
amount.
up Gary V. Fuck your grandma. Fuck your parents.
Fuck your coworkers.
Oh my god, no, Gary V. I knew some guy at fucking FedEx who loved that guy. I'm like, but anyway, I'm gonna finish the story about my dad, and then we'll move on. But basically, he made it, right? My mom and dad, they fucking made it. They have 4 kids. They live in the fucking suburbs and all that shit. And they raised me in a very comfortable life. I never had to know where another meal was coming from. I never had to deal with any violence very much in my life, other than like bullying for being like a closeted queer, but whatever.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like that like class condition, like I was living it up. But despite all that, despite him literally making it in the American dream, right? He is one of the most miserable fucking people I've ever met. I've met homeless people like who have a better outlook on life than this man. Like he literally is so fucking miserable that he has no friends. He constantly fucking talks about his fascist right-wing politics every single time he gets with any of both my mom's side and basically on my mom's side of the family or like family friends. Like he constantly talks about his fucking far right bullshit politics to everybody, and he's so fucking annoying. Like nobody likes him, Like the only way that he's able to satisfy himself is through controlling his fucking children, and he did that to me, along with every other kid that he had, the oldest of 4 daughters, like But I was expected to be the man, and so like I fulfilled that role of control for him. Because he wanted me to do XYZ, he wanted me to be in sports, and he tried to force me into sports like over and over and over again. He tried to suppress my ability to be myself whenever it came to my views on religion, my views on politics, when I started getting in high school, whenever I started to not be a fucking fascist prick anymore. Like,
Yeah.
Like he just absolutely controlled that. And then whenever I came out as queer during the pandemic, like he has been, yeah, I was stuck with them during the fucking pandemic, and I came out to them as bisexual at the time. Whew, that was awful. So like he literally is so fucking miserable, and it really is that way for so many fucking people who are literally living it up. They have everything they ever would want in terms of material need. They are not worrying about any sort of material strife, you know, and yet they are still so fucking miserable because they're so fucking alienated because of how that whole structure works. They have no other meaning outside of what the system gives them, which is essentially control. And it's just like, it's awful. And I can almost feel bad for him if he wasn't such a fucking piece of shit person. You know, if I hadn't given him so many opportunities to become a better person and learn to be to be something outside of that fucking framework. But yeah, no, you're absolutely 100% right. There's so many fucking people, like, you know, effectively being like Kyle's dad or like my dad, where they're just normal fucking white people, white dudes who have a wife and kids who, you know, who are living out in fucking, I don't know, St. Charles County, Lincoln County, fucking Jefferson County, whatever the fuck county, you know, out, you know, some suburban area of varying levels of success. And, you know, and they just take out their aggression and their angst and their fucking alienation on everybody else because they're fucking miserable. And it's just awful. Awful shit. But yeah.
No, I definitely feel your you know, your anger. I feel your driving because to me it's something foreign where, like, you know, I you know, me and Endless have talked a bit. I'm not that open about, like, you know, technically my, you know, like my private life and stuff like that, my personal life, because I don't really want Lucid Kitty to be about that. But you know, I've to me, when I hear, like, I'm one of those people, like, I can shut down, like, those arguments really well. Like, I used to do that in my workplaces really well, where it's like, my manager got mad, and he's like, I don't like bringing you into conversations, because, basically, his was like, I don't like bringing you into conversations because you'll make me look stupid.
Right!
But I don't, but it's one of those, like, but now that I don't, like, I work for myself, I literally don't have those conversations anymore. Right, because my family isn't like that, right? Like, I probably could have came out to my family as queer if I was queer or something, or trans. Maybe trans, I don't know. I feel like that would have been like, because they're immigrants still, so I feel like it would have been like on the slower end of them getting it. But I don't feel like it would have been a complete, like, there would have been like all this rejection or crazy, like, ooh, or any black conservativeness. Like any kind of black conservativeness that I deal with, that's kind of like a friction with between me and my family or my parents, is the fact that they kind of achieved the American dream as immigrants.
That makes sense.
Right? Yeah. So trying to get them to understand that shit, you know what I mean? Like, that shit ain't gonna work for me. Right? Right? Like the America you came to in the fucking like 60s and 70s is not the America, you know, or like the America you came into like in the 70s, 80s is not the America I'm living in, you know what I mean? The America that you got successful, you came up and, you know, you hit your mark of, you know, kind of that peak where as soon as you're successful, it's really hard to be unsuccessful without fucking up, without like deliberately fucking up the bag. You know, getting to that point in like the late 90s, early 2000s before the hard economic crash, right? So, you know, that's where my contention kind of comes, where is kind of that clash. Like, my mom will straight up say, like, you know, people don't want to work, and so I was all like, and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to start having this conversation with you.
No, I absolutely relate to that, because like my dad, every time I'd start talking about like, hey, they're just people who, by necessity, because of the way the system works, who are always going to be hurting. Like, this is how it works. Right. And he's like, nuh-uh, I made it work. Why can't they? It's like, that's not the point of the system. The whole point is that there's always got to be some sort of fucking underclass for people to exploit and to profit from. Right. There's always going to be a loser. There's always going to be somebody who's going to be unemployed, because it's literally economics, like capitalist economics, to where you literally cannot have no unemployment. You have to have it to where, in order for the economy to function in the way that it does, you have to have a certain amount of people unemployed to be able to exploit the rest of the working population as a threat from them, striking or whatever, or agitating, because it's like I forgot the term for it, but like, it's like it's essentially this hidden army of scabs that they can pull from at any point in time, or a pool of workers that they can just pick from the litter whenever the workers that they currently have are being too feisty. That's how the capitalist economy works. Because I think it's like a certain amount of unemployment that's like a non-unemployment or whatever the fuck. Even though there's still unemployment, it's because like there is like, in order for the economy to be healthy, there has to be unemployment. And it's just something that my dad does understand it, but he still doesn't understand the contradiction of, okay, if everybody can make it, then how the fuck do people deserve it when there's somebody who has to not make it?
Right.
Like, like even if they supposedly did these bad decisions, like, I mean, I've supposedly done bad decisions on my own part that helped lead me. But I mean, mostly it was due to circumstance, but also due to the fact that I was no longer getting that much support from my family, like that led me down to being working class. Like my class position has changed drastically in the past few years since I moved out, Right. And
that is something they say, like when you're in a class, when you're born in a class, you pretty much stay in that class.
Yeah, that's
so to go down on the ladder.
For my city especially, and black men, I know it's a statistic that typically you'll sink in class below your parents. There's not really kind of stay there or you down.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so so because my parents made it back in the fucking 70s and 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they're fucking white people, like, and because my dad was poor and my mom was relatively poor, here in Missouri, like all of a sudden it's, oh, we gotta talk about this, it's all this nonsense that they want to fucking talk about, other than the fact that it's because of the fucking economic system.
True,
and
exactly. People talk about generational wealth, but never generational poverty.
Right. Because like, if for example, like, if I did not come out as trans or queer, I would have been fucking set. Like, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I would have been set because I would have been able to finish college. I wouldn't have been so depressed as to not finish college if I was not queer. Like, I would have been able to get out of community college and finish my fucking bachelor's. I would have been able to have a decent, respectable job. I would have been able to, I would have been able to, all that.
Yeah,
like,
it was you that we were talking about. That I was like, what is the like? Kind of have to weigh the risk of like, do I be happy and live my truth, or do I, fucking struggle through, financially?
Right. So like it is, so it's just, I 100% empathize with what you're saying with your own family, where it's like, that because they made it, therefore everybody else can, and therefore everybody else should, when that assumption doesn't make sense,
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's shitty.
No, but I had a thought. So are you like do you like still speak to your family, or did you go like no contact?
It's complicated because like, although I do still have some like contact with my family and I still rely on them for some things, I don't live with them anymore. So I gotta, that's actually why I moved here to St. Louis, because I couldn't live in my own apartment on my own in out in the county anymore, out west. So I had to move out here by necessity. Otherwise I would have been couch hopping. But even then though, like, my parents have been kind of supportive. Like, my mom's been getting better. My dad still fucking misgenders me behind my back and is still a piece of shit. But like, recently I have been like I have been really fucking struggling. I'm behind in my rent. I'm only working a certain amount of hours at this new job, and I'm trying to find another one. I'm basically almost out of all my savings that I had. Like, it's, so it's really kind of coming down to the wire. And, all I asked from my parents is like, hey, just give me $50 for groceries. I'm fine with it. And they send me fucking like 10 times that. I'm like, what? What? You didn't need to do that. And I kind of feared that it was like more of like a,
Like
oh,
a
hey.
manipulation,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
we got you.
Right,
Like, hey,
because,
we did
like-
all this help for you.
Right,
Trust me, I've
exactly.
been there.
Because they've done it before. So like I'm still kind of like, I only asked for groceries and you immediately gave me like 10 times that amount that I asked for. Why did you know, it's like, but like whatever. You know, I'm not gonna say no, but like, you know, at the same time it's like it's a weird relationship. And so the only main thing is like either that, and also like
But that's not the
technically-
problem, because they
Yeah.
know that you can't really say no.
Right.
Like they
Right,
know
I can't,
you really
I can't say no. Right. Like I
Right,
really can't. And so yeah, there's that, and there's just like a few other like smaller things. But but outside of that, I mean I used to rely on them for so much more, but it just over time that just kind of got cut off, or I cut things off myself because I didn't want to be attached to
Yeah.
them. And so it's just like a weird relationship. And so I don't know. I mean I don't know. It's complicated, and so like there's some people who are saying like maybe you should maybe try and like reach out to your family more. I'm like, maybe, you know, I mean my mom actually for the first time ever after several years, actually for the first time ever in my life, she actually told me this month like, oh, happy Pride. I'm like,
Oh wow.
who?
Well,
What?
that's progress.
Was this the right person? I just, because like keep in mind this is my same mom a couple fucking years ago when I was under their roof. All I wanted to do was to go to my first ever drag show in the city, and I was gonna go with my boyfriend at the time, and my best friend from high school, who my parents even know. He's a trans guy who was like connected in the trans scene here, and so all I was gonna do. Now I was like under 21, but I my parents know that I never fucking drink, you know.
Yeah.
All I was gonna do is go to this bar that has this fucking show, you know, see the show, go home. That's it. With my boyfriend that I already knew for months, you know, with my best friend who I trust because I've known him since fucking high school, like, you know, and you know, and my mom, she eventually hears, you know, or I eventually have to tell her because she's like very nosy about this kind of thing. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to go see a drag show, and my mom freaks out. She literally starts saying shit like, "You're gonna get like, you know, SA'd. You're gonna get like, you know, you're gonna get like some sort of like pills in your drink, even though I wasn't gonna drink there, like, because again, first of all, I'm underage. Secondly, like, why?
It's not funny. Like I just imagine that meme of like from like the B movie where the guy gets stung. And he's like, I'm going to a drag show. Oh!
Right? Like
oh, he's like throwing herself around her room,
guy, the fucking fat lawyer. Yeah. No, like the
dragging
big
herself
guy,
across
yeah.
your dresser. Oh, drag.
No, because like, and then my mom forbade it, like forbade it. And the thing is that I've been this close to being kicked out for less. So like, I had to do what she told me to do. Otherwise, I was at risk of getting kicked out. You know,
Yeah.
so that same mom now all of a sudden, after years of ignoring me or playing both sides between me and my dad in terms of queer issues and him being incredibly transphobic, incredibly bigoted, and very much like quote unquote protective of me in regards to my younger sisters because they're like still in elementary school and they don't want me to be me around them still. They still are uncomfortable with that. They're even like claiming that like all this bullshit around me, like wanting to be able to just be their older sister like I want them to be, you know, and just actually be there in their lives and nothing else, like just be there. They think that like I'm trying to turn them queer. It's like, no, if all I would do by my mere existence is that if they were to realize that they were queer, I'd be there to support them. That's it, you know? But like, yeah, so like my parents are pieces of shit. And yeah, so like that same mom who was participating in that kind of shit is now all of a sudden saying happy Pride and oh my gosh, you're so brave. Like, I don't know if it's genuine or not. You know?
Is this a ruse?
I don't know. I might talk to her soon and just, you know, maybe try and meet up with her and see how she feels about it. Cause like, you know, but yeah, it's a whole thing, and it's crazy. Yeah, but hopefully I'll get that situation figured out once I get this second job, once I catch up on my bills. I'll probably have to work overtime, but that's fine. I'm fine with that. You know, whatever I need to do, I'll do it and I'll figure it out. I'll stop ranting because I've been ranting the whole time.
It's all good.
No, it's good. I mean, it's. I think it's good to, you know, I would even say like hear these perspectives of people that are, you know, within these, right? Because I think it is, you know, very easy to dismiss, you know, especially I would say, especially as like someone who's like, you know, on this side of the fence, of racial fence, it's easy to dismiss people that come from a certain background, like of class, of wealth, and are white, and then but to dismiss that some of them take the deliberate effort to kind of distance themselves from it, even at their own harm, right? Which I would say is the kind of thing that we kind of ask of allies, right? Like if you know, and I would say, I mean, it's less of, I would say this is less of an ally thing, because it's like it's you trying to like, it's you protecting yourself by disconnecting from your family. But there is something to say about, like I said, how we the other conversation about living your truth versus, or do I just take the easy way and like, let me get this paper, live good, and then like maybe when I'm 40 I'll start like doing my shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't have any time for that. The people that I know, the people that I'm in community with, we don't have time for that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have time to try and be careful, because like ultimately, I mean, even just like kind of with my own position, like it's just like, I can't, I don't know, I just, by the way in which, I don't know, like I no longer have a taste for essentially being assimilated into this whole thing. I am very skeptical of any sort of like assimilation within myself, within like the current like any of these current structures, you know, whether it be, you know, job wise or, you know, like society wise, the state, you know, whatever. I just, you know, in regards to like white supremacy, whatever, like I'm very skeptical in regards to these sorts of things, because it's just like, I've been kind of already on the other side of that. I grew up with that.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people will say that, you know, and a lot of people rightfully want to like escape the crippling fucking poverty that comes with, you know, again, just like just being poor. Like or even sometimes living in the city, like being around certain things that you won't have to deal with when you're in the suburbs. Like,
Yeah.
but I've lived in the suburbs and I fucking hated it. Like every time I come back to the suburbs that I literally grew up in, I literally were walking and driving these streets for years. You know, I was there for like 20 years of my life. And yet I feel, whenever I go back there now, I feel like a complete alien. I feel like I never was supposed to be there. Like it's just this vacuum of everything that is good. Like it's like a vacuum of culture. There's nothing worthwhile there outside of maybe relatives and friends. Like that's it. You know, there's nothing good going on there. There's nothing exciting. There's nothing cool there.
Suburbs were just a product of white flight. The whole point was for them to get away from culture.
Absolutely. And it just like experiencing that now that I live here in a major metropolitan area now, like for over a year, like it's just like such a change. And although there are negative experiences that I have had because I live in the city proper, like I'm not gonna lie, like I have experienced a radical increase in gun violence in my life because of it. Like just because I live, you know, in certain parts of the city, definitely not the worst parts of the city. Not even in my area, it's not the worst part, right? But like I have experienced like, you know, straight up gunfights right outside my fucking apartment, or right outside like the free store, actually, you know, straight up road rage fight, or, you know, a bullet like ricocheting onto my car. I have a massive bullet hole in my car because some jackass fucking mag dumped down the street while I was at a poetry night event. Like
that's fucking scary.
Like, yeah, I thought we were getting shot up for a couple seconds, but thank God we weren't. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, it's just, you know, and yeah, that is a negative aspect that I will have to say that comes from just living in the city, but it also comes like there is a radical amount of love and support that I have gotten as a result of being here that I will never take for anything else in the world. I would, if I were to make that trade off again, like reverse it, I would not take that trade because it's just not worth it. You know, all of the life, like, you know, all of the committed comrades and friends and accomplices and all these other people that I know, and this broader, especially trans community that I've met here, I would die for them. And I am so incredibly lucky to be able to have something like that because I remember growing up where that kind of community didn't exist. And I had to grow up, you know, I had to realize myself as a queer person for so long without it. And so now that I have it, I'm keeping it. I don't care what happens to me because of it. And so, yeah, it's just like, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, like St. Louis especially is like a very much a dying and decaying city. Like even compared to a lot of other cities, like it just literally like everybody wants to get the fuck out of it. But I don't know. Sure, it may be a shithole, but it's my shithole. So like
that's how I feel about Baltimore.
Right.
Yeah,
but yeah.
that's how I feel about my state. I'm not gonna dox myself, but yeah,
no, I totally get it.
That's exactly how I feel about. But unfortunately, I am one of the states that, you know, not always in the news, but times where it does end up, I'm like, ugh. Right, and it's just one of those things where, you know, I love my state, right? I don't love the way it's governed, right? But I feel like most people, you know, they have some love for their home, you know, where they grew up.
Kansas City is definitely on its way,
right? So,
yeah,
you know,
no,
yeah, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, kind of to your earlier point about like how certain folks within like the community that you were kind of talking about that are, you know, can be kind of automatically dismissive of like kind of people within like certain white communities who are maybe sometimes maybe even marginalized within certain places, but do kind of come from that like you know, like basically like
they're marginalized, but they still have privilege.
Yeah, right. And it's like ultimately like that dismissal, you know, like I mean, you are right. It doesn't come from nowhere, and I don't think I could ever really judge anybody for making that dismissal of like me personally, or like if they were to see me like online or whatever, and they like were to see like, oh yeah, I came from this background, yada yada yada, and I have so and so politics or whatever, right? Like I would understand because there are so many people within my community, as a white trans woman, who are just absolutely fucking awful towards on anything regarding racial issues. Like I see it all the fucking time, even within my local scene. Like it is awful. Like it is deplorable. And so there is a rightful amount of strain between like colonized communities in like cities like mine, for example, and white queer people, because like even though there are people like me who ultimately have lost their class position once they moved here because of that lack of support, you know, they still, because of that privilege, still end up gentrifying parts of the city. Like, for example, like the Grove is basically like this, or, you know, Tower Grove Park. Yeah, like there's
from New York.
Yeah. So like it, you know, sure, there are white queer people throughout American history who have been marginalized and are trying to find places to stay that are cheap because they essentially have they are lower on the socioeconomic ladder than they were before, right? But it's like there's this like interplay between like the communities who have already been in those places who are now being displaced because of how white supremacy works, and the white queer people who are trying to find somewhere to live because they can't live in the suburbs anymore. And it's just like it is a definitely an interplay that has to genuinely be reconciled with in a way that, you know, obviously just me saying it is not gonna fucking fix it. But like, you know, building those community connections that are often either never there or very slim between the colonized and, you know, and the marginalized, I guess you could say, if that's a distinction worth making. Like, you know, that ultimately, and obviously within that intersection too, because like, you know, within both of these communities, they essentially, at least from what I've seen, like they completely ignore the people who are both black and queer. Like white queer people do not fuck with black queer people in like barely at all, you know? And, you know, and then there's obviously things that I've read in regards to how like black people who are queer experience being within the black community, you know, as a whole. And it's just like, yeah. And so I guess the best that I can do is try and support the people who are within the queer community that I know, who are within that, who are also experiencing it, you know, at the same time, that, you know, I guess, dual experience of both being colonized and also being queer. And that's kind of, that's the best that I can really do, you know?
It was a Moliere. I mean, that's kind of what the conversation got to, was about kind of anti-gentrification, but I think it was more kind of about, I guess it was more about like recognizing privilege and kind of, you know, I guess lack of a better term, giving grace to those that can recognize their own privilege, right? And actively work against it. Because I'll say in relation to maybe like Endless can speak to this a little bit. You know, that there is a conversation that should be had within community. So I wouldn't even say this is something that needs to be, you know, done with or among white people, you know, no offense, but about class privilege within black communities, right? Because I know that is something that, you know, at least in Cornbread too, as you know they call it, that is becoming more discussed, right? That there are black people that have class privilege that do not acknowledge it and in fact use it against other black people who aren't within the same class, or, you know, even on a lesser extent, not even recognize that they have said privilege that sets them apart. Because I know, like, for me, that I'll say I can speak to that personally, as I, you know, Endless, you know, and you might remember, you know, in my other streams with them, that because of how I grew up around, you know, white people, because my father, you know, did pretty well for himself. But I also went to a magnet school, which means I spent half of my day, you know, lack of a better term, in the hood, right? Right. I've been, you know, in inner city schools and such. So kind of seeing that both dichotomies of the fact is that I'll go back home and deal with racist white people, but it's generally chill. Police don't ever really roll through or nothing, right? The police that show up are police that live there, right? But while I'm at school, I'm like, yo, where's Jeremy? And you're like, oh, Jeremy got shot in a drive-by throwing his brother into the car to save him, right? And then Jeremy shows back up, you know, like a couple months later with a plate in his head. Right, thank God that, you know, he was still alive. You know, I'm changing his name, but it's like, no, like there's a legit story where it's like English class and be like, yo, wait, where you know, where you at? And he's like, oh no, you didn't hear? Yeah, he got shot. And I'm like, what? And I was thinking it was, and this is like high school, so in everyone being so casual about it, it was kind of my was like, oh my God, like nobody's fazed by this, right? And I think it was because we also like knew that he was alive. But he was like in critical condition, but it was just like nobody was fazed. And to me that was just a huge wake up call to me at like, you know, 15, 16 years old, right? That like, oh shit, I do not deal with this at all, right? Like, I do a lot for my little brother, but I didn't have to like take a bullet for him. I mean, I would, but I never had to. I never had to worry about that. God damn, right? You know, so like that's kind of always colored mine, and I feel like you can see that with certain black people, especially on the online sphere, right? That you're like, oh, you come from a certain class and have no idea, and like just are completely disconnected from black people across different class barriers, right? Right. Like I don't want to call out anyone specific. You know, I'm not that deep into it to like be like this person is
Right.
indicative of that. But I feel like, you know, we all kind of have an idea of a certain person in the space. So you're like, ooh, yeah, you grew up with money and you view poor black people as a problem, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I.
That's common though.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like. Yeah. You're absolutely. Yeah. No. That. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just saying, like, to answer Amolier, that's basically what the conversation was about, was just kind of recognizing that privilege. Because as much as I'll give my dad, like, you know, I've lived here, I've lived in the Middle East, right? I've literally
Crazy.
been to ex-communist countries, right? Like my stepmother's from ex-Soviet Russia, not Russia, ex-Soviet Soviet Union, Romania.
Wow.
Right?
Crazy.
So it's like, you know, so I've literally, like, I've spent time in countries where, like, oh, this is what, you know, shitty communism do. Not even like, oh, this is not what communism, but like, oh, this is what like a really shitty government can do with just any power. Any kind of just like turn any system into crap. Right? Like even like communism was, you know, in theory is supposed to be a good system, like, oh wow, you really fuck shit here. Right? And you can see why, like, in, you know, you can imagine why, like, in Cuba, why so many Cubans in Florida are so hardcore Republicans, because they're like, well, when someone uses, you know, communism and like socialism in a way to destroy the country, right? The same way capitalism can destroy the country, right? Because, you know, I think the people and the system are the problem, right? Because I'm of the mind that humans are just terrible, right? If you know, if we all just got like, or everyone, not just people, just everyone, just Thanos snapped, we'll be fine. Like let the animals be, right? I feel like humans were a mistake.
Return to monk.
Right.
Oh my god, no.
Right.
Oh fuck, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like there's why did I just fucking forget? Oh my lord. Fuck. Oh yeah, no. I think we're talking about like Soviet, like this, like these Soviet countries are like these, like, I guess more state socialist projects. Like it's insane to me just how little of, like, for example, like the more and more I study revolutionary movements, even like before like the Soviet, like, or before like the major wave of, like, I guess more like Marxist revolutions across the world, right? I actually just recently listened to a fucking podcast on South America, like Spanish American independence in South America, you know, and the main guy who was like a part of that was a guy named Simon Bolivar. You know, that's where you get the term Bolivia from, and he basically was the main guy who helped liberate most of what would end up being Spanish South America. He was mainly a military leader, but like a lot of it comes down to like it's funny because Bolivar was actually what would be kind of called like a centralist guy. He wanted a strong central government, and he even tried to make himself like a leader for life of Bolivia and also Peru and several other countries when he finally won against the Spanish. So like, and they eventually straight up like kicked him out because they were tired of his bullshit, because everyone else wanted to have independent powers in local fucking cities because nobody wanted to be ruled by anybody, you know? And like, sure, he wanted to do certain reforms, but they only lasted while he was fucking there, you know, because it was all power of personality with him. And yeah, so like, even though like the historian in question was like, you know, oh yeah, federalism in this context was like nobody wanted united around a leader, and that was why they had difficulty with the Spanish. But like, you know, and also like it's crazy because like, you know, like even though Simon Bolivar was literally helped by the Haitians and the like even given guns and mercenaries and shit. And the only caveat was, hey, after that, make sure you free all the slaves, please. Like that was the caveat that I think it was I'm pretty sure it was Dessalines or the next leader after him that essentially supplied him with that. It's like, hey, we'll fund your independence movement because we don't fuck with the Spanish because they're slavers. But like, as long as you free the slaves there, we'll be good. And he didn't do that. He didn't do that because fucking Bolivar was a big white in the same way that there were big whites in fucking Haiti, where he was a locally born Venezuelan big white who
Big white.
yeah,
Not to be
like,
confused with big meat.
right, like he was a big white in that way in the colony, and so it has definitely taught me that like ultimately if I want to do anything relating to a liberatory project in my own context, the last thing that I want to be is a fucking Bolivar. Because sure, I may be remembered in some fucking history book somewhere if I even get that far or somewhere close to that. But ultimately, I wouldn't be able to get the job done on full liberation because, you know, I'd be blinded by my biases. I'd be, you know, I would essentially make a system that was still founded on the same colonial system that I was brought up in. You know, that I was brought up in terms of privilege from, you know, and yeah, so it's things like that, you know, or like recently I'm gonna try and learn more about the Haitian Revolution. I've kind of said it before, like it's kind of the same thing but in different ways, like Toussaint, you know, the overture, and then the later Haitian leaders, like they do get venerated in some ways righteously, you know, like. But ultimately, you know, it kind of comes from a similar thing where Toussaint, like, literally tried to help reinstate slavery to get the colony back up and running again. Like plantation work, you know, it was just under new management, you know, when the slaves were like, no, we're not going back in those plantations ever again. Because they're fucking sugar plantations. It's like, no, we're not making any more sugar for you. And so he ended up getting in conflict with the very people he was trying to liberate, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just crazy like that. So it's just things like that. I try to learn from in my own way, in whatever ways I can, you know? I don't know.
Might hop off and grab a bite to eat.
Yeah, I'm actually, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was good talking to you guys.
Yeah, it was good talking
Absolutely.
to you. Sure. Always.
Yeah, let me add you real quick. Did I already add you? I think
You
I already
did.
did.
You did.
Okay, I already did. Good. But yeah, no. I'm actually probably gonna get off like right now because I got shit to do. But thank y'all for having me. Thank you for letting me rant, I guess.
Thanks for coming through.
Of course.
Yeah, appreciate pulling me in, man.
Yeah, of course, always.
All right. I will see you later.
Good night or good day.
Bye.
Peace.
Let's raid Kara Chats. Yeah, sorry, Moliere. I've been streaming for like 4 hours almost. I'll catch you all tomorrow. I'll stream. I'll get on tomorrow. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Yeah, I gotta get on YouTube stream. Auto VODs. I got auto VODs here. I am streaming on YouTube. So there's VODs there. But yep, I'll see you guys tomorrow.